Hello everyone, and welcome to the Beast fanfic. So we are back with an interesting movie on what if Goku was the reincarnation of the sun god and chose the priestess Liz as his guardian. But before we start, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoy my content. Let's start the story. Chapter 1. The Awakening Light. Golden sunlight spilled across the valley, illuminating the dew-laden grass as Goku completed his 1000th one-fingered push-up. Sweat glistened on his muscular back, each droplet catching the morning light like tiny prisms. Birds circled overhead, their curious eyes watching the daily ritual that had continued uninterrupted for years. The mountain air carried the scent of pine and wild herbs, filling his lungs as he transitioned effortlessly to standing. 1000, he murmured, shaking out his arms. Still not enough. He closed his eyes, centering himself before launch into a series of movements so fluid they appeared choreographed by the wind itself. His fists carved through the air with precision that defied human capability, each strike generating small shock waves that disturbed the grass around him. The kata increased in speed until his limbs blurred, yet his breathing remained steady, controlled. The dream had come again last night, golden light consuming him from within. Voices speaking in languages he'd never heard yet somehow understood. 3 years of the same vision, always ending with a sense of urgent responsibility he couldn't name. A distant bell echoed across the valley, breaking his concentration. Festival day in Hikari village. Goku sighed, reluctantly ending his training session. Elder Gohan would expect him to help with preparations. The old man had raised him after finding him abandoned as an infant, teaching him martial arts and the simple wisdom of mountain life. Goku gathered his worn training GI and headed down the winding path toward the cluster of wooden houses nestled between the protective embrace of 2 mountain ridges. Children spotted him first, as always. Goku. Goku's coming. They shouted, racing toward him with unbridled enthusiasm. He grinned, dropping into a crouch as they surrounded him. What's the rush, little warriors? Show us the trick again, demanded a gap-toothed boy named Taro. The one with the apples. Festival preparations first, Goku reminded them, ruffling Taro's unruly hair. But maybe later. The children's chorus of disappointed groans pulled a laugh from his chest. Moments of normalcy anchored him when the strange energy surges came, when he accidentally split boulders with casual taps or jumped clean over the village's tallest building. The village square bustled with activity. Lanterns in red and gold hung from every available surface, tables laden with festival foods lined the perimeter, and the central stage stood ready for the traditional sun dance. Elder Gohan supervised it all, his wizened face crinkling with pleasure as he spotted Goku. There you are, my boy. The old man waved him over. Despite his advanced age, Gohan moved with the grace of a lifelong martial artist. I was beginning to think you'd forgotten us for your mountain spirits. Just lost track of time, Goku admitted, grabbing an apple from a nearby basket and consuming it in 3 precise bites. Gohan's expression shifted subtly. The dreams again. Goku nodded once, unwilling to elaborate with so many ears nearby. The strange dreams had started on his 20th birthday, coinciding with occasional golden flashes in his normally dark eyes and unexplainable surges of power. We'll discuss it later, Gohan murmured. For now, the South Pavilion needs your strength. The support beam cracked during yesterday's winds. The work provided welcome distraction. Goku easily lifted the massive wooden beam that would have required 4 strong men, positioning it while the village carpenters secured it. He worked tirelessly through the morning, helping wherever his extraordinary strength proved useful, all while deflecting compliments with genuine humility. By midday, delicious aromas permeated the village. Goku's legendary appetite drew him to the cooking fires where he charmed extra portions from the village women with his infectious smile and sincere appreciation. Save some for the festival, Goku, laughed Mei Lin, the baker's wife, as she handed him a 3rd steamed bun. I'm just ensuring quality control, he replied with a wink, earning delighted giggles. The casual interaction fractured when a peculiar sensation prickled along his spine. Goku's hand froze midway to his mouth, his attention suddenly focused on the village entrance. Someone was coming. Someone with energy unlike anything he'd encountered before. It hummed against his senses like crystalline bells, structured yet flowing, controlled yet powerful. Villagers parted as a slender figure walked purposefully into the square. Her robes, white with gold trim, fluttered around her form like captured sunlight. A golden circlet held back raven hair that fell to her waist in a single perfect braid. But it was her eyes that commanded attention, amber irises ringed with gold, ancient knowledge residing in a youthful face. Conversation died as she approached. Even children fell silent, sensing something momentous in her arrival. Goku found himself moving forward without conscious decision, drawn by the strange resonance between her energy and something sleeping within himself. Elder Gohan stepped forward. Welcome, priestess. Hikari village honors your presence. She inclined her head slightly, an economy of movement that suggested precise training. I thank you for your welcome, Elder. I am Liz, guardian priestess of the Solarian Temple. Her voice carried the refined accent of the Central Kingdoms, each word precisely enunciated as though reciting sacred text. Eke an audience with your council on matters of grave importance. Our humble village rarely hosts those of your station, Gohan replied carefully. What brings a guardian priestess so far from the temple spires? Her amber eyes shifted, finding Goku with unerring precision despite the gathered crowd. I seek the one who walks with the sun in his soul. Murmurs rippled through the onlookers. Goku felt every eye turn toward him. The strange connection between himself and the priestess now obvious to all. He straightened, meeting her gaze directly. I believe you're looking for me, he stated simply. His usual casual demeanor replaced by something more primal, more alert. Though I don't recall us meeting before. We have not met in this life, Goku of Hikari village. She stepped closer, her movements fluid yet ceremonial. But your spirit is known to me through ancient prophecy and celestial divination. Elder Gohan moved protectively toward Goku. Perhaps this discussion would best continue in the council hall, away from the festival preparations. There is no time for private counsel, Liz replied, her composure cracking slightly to reveal urgency beneath. What I concerns all who dwell beneath the sun. She turned to address the gathered villagers, her voice strengthening. For 1,000 years, the Solarian priestesses have maintained the sacred prophecies and watched the celestial signs. We have awaited the return of Amaterasu, the sun god, who sacrificed divine form to be reborn as mortal when darkness threatened to consume all existence. Skeptical glances passed between villagers. Such talk belonged in distant temples, not their practical mountain community. Goku himself felt a flicker of discomfort. The dreams, the unexplained powers, they didn't make him divine, just different. The signs are unmistakable, Liz continued, unperturbed by the skepticism. The triple eclipse, the awakening of the sealed beasts, the golden comet, all foretell. Markers of Amaterasu's awakening have come to pass. Her gaze returned to Goku. All that remains is for the vessel to acknowledge his divine heritage. I'm no god, Goku stated firmly, crossing his arms. I'm just a man who trains hard and sometimes, he hesitated, sometimes has unexplainable abilities. Something softened in Liz's expression. The reincarnation remembers nothing of divinity at first. Your mortal mind protects you from the overwhelming burden of cosmic memory. She approached him slowly, as if concerned he might bolt. But the power within you grows whether you acknowledge it or not. And those who fear the sun's return have already begun to move against you. Who would move against my boy? Gohan demanded, protective instinct flaring. The void cult grows stronger with each passing season. Liz answered, her voice dropping. They worship the great emptiness that existed before light. Their agents search for Amaterasu's vessel, seeking to destroy him before full awakening. Goku's brow furrowed. You're saying I'm in danger because you believe I'm some reincarnated deity. Not belief. Knowledge. Liz's certainty was absolute. And not just you. All who shelter you. All who care for you. Her words cut off abruptly as her head snapped toward the northern forest edge. Goku felt it too. A wrongness, a cold sensation like ink spreading through clear water. His body tensed automatically. They've found us, Liz whispered, golden energy suddenly crackling around her hands. Sooner than I anticipated. The tree line erupted with movement. Dark shish. Apes bounded toward the village, creatures resembling wolves but with elongated limbs and shoulders that rose unnaturally high. Their eyes gleamed crimson, and shadows seemed to cling to their forms even in direct sunlight. Shadow beasts. Liz called out, her ceremonial demeanor replaced by battle readiness. Get everyone inside. They're drawn to fear and untrained life energy. Villagers scat. Read in panic as the first beasts reached the outlying houses. Goku moved without hesitation, covering the distance in a blur of speed that left afterimages. He intercepted the lead creature mid-leap, his fist connecting with its jaw in a precise strike that should have shattered bone. Instead, his hand passed partially through, as though the creature existed between states of matter. Its claws, however, proved solid enough as they raked across his chest, tearing his GI and drawing blood. Physical attacks alone won't harm them, Liz called, hurrying toward him while directing Golden Energy Eye. NTO, a protective barrier around fleeing villagers. They're manifestations of void energy. You must counter with your inner light. I don't know what that means. Goku shouted back, adapting his STR/ATEGY to focus on deflection rather than direct strikes. He moved with extraordinary speed, positioning himself between the beasts and the villagers. 3 creatures circled him, coordinating their attacks with unsettling intelligence. Goku dodged with preternatural awareness, his body flowing between their lunges. Despite his speed, one beast's claws caught his shoulder, burning like frozen fire where they connected. Elder Gohan appeared beside him, wielding his walking staff with the precision of a master. Focus your ki, Goku, as I taught you. Intent shapes energy. Goku had always led at channeling ki, the internal energy that powered his extraordinary martial abilities, but this felt different. The beasts seemed to absorb conventional energy attacks, growing stronger rather than weaker. A child's scream pierced the chaos. Taro had become separated from his mother, cowering against a festival booth as a shadow beast stalked toward him. Goku's attention divided fatally, the momentary distraction allowing a beast to slam into his back, driving him to the ground with supernatural weight. Pain lanced through him as shadow claws sought his throat. The beast's jaws gaped impossibly wide, revealing an emptiness that seemed to pull at something within Goku's very essence. Fear for the village children crystallized into rage, then into something purer, a primal need to protect that transcended physical limitation. Heat built beneath his skin, familiar from his dreams yet stronger than ever before. The creature atop him sensed the change, its movements becoming frantic as it tried to complete whatever consumption it had begun. Remember who you are. Liz's voice cut through his fading consciousness. The darkness cannot extinguish the sun. Something shattered within Goku. A barrier between what he had always been and what he truly was. Golden light erupted from every pore, blasting outward in a perfect sphere of energy. The shadow beast disintegrated with a haunting wail. Particles of darkness scattering like ash. Goku rose slowly, golden flames dancing across his skin without burning. His eyes, now pure gold, surveyed the battlefield with detached clarity. The remaining beasts hesitated, their predatory confidence replaced by something resembling fear. Liz stared in wonder. Amaterasu, she whispered, dropping to one knee. The name resonated within him, familiar yet distant. Goku raised his hand almost curiously, watching as the golden energy responded to his intent, coalescing into a perfect sphere above his palm. With a gesture that felt remembered rather than learned, he sent the light orb arcing toward the beast threatening Taro. Upon impact, the creature didn't simply die, it purified, darkness burning away to reveal a small core of natural energy that dissipated harmlessly. Goku turned toward the remaining beasts, extending both hands outward. Solar energy gathered, forming a wave that swept across the village perimeter. Each beast ouched by the light underwent the same transformation, darkness burned away, original energy released. As quickly as it had manifested, the golden aura receded. Goku staggered, suddenly exhausted beyond measure. Liz reached him before he fell, her slender frame surprisingly strong as she supported his weight. The awakening has begun, she murmured, though it strains your mortal form. Villagers emerged cautiously from shelter, staring at Goku with expressions ranging from awe to fear. The festival decorations hung in tatters, several buildings showed claw marks and structural damage, but miraculously, no one appeared seriously injured. Elder Gohan approached slowly, his weathered face unreadable. I suspected, he said quietly. From the moment I found you as an infant, sleeping peacefully in the crater of a fallen star. You knew. Goku managed, his voice rough with exhaustion. I suspected. Gohan repeated carefully. There is a difference. I raised you as a man, not a god. Because that was what you needed to become. His eyes shifted to Liz. But it seems the time for sheltered growth has passed. The priestess nodded solemnly. The attack confirms what our divinations revealed. The Void Cult has identified him through their own dark prophecies. She glanced around at the damaged village. This place can no longer hide him, and his untrained power puts everyone at risk. I won't leave, Goku stated firmly, finding strength to stand unassisted. These people are my family. If I'm the target, I'll face these shadow creatures and their masters directly. Noble but futile, Liz countered, her tone softening slightly despite her formal speech. Today you glimpsed a fraction of your potential, yet it nearly overwhelmed your unprepared body. Without proper training at the Solarian Temple, the next manifestation could consume you, or worse, corrupt the divine essence you carry. She speaks truth, my boy, Gohan interjected gently. I have taught you all I can of martial arts and key manipulation. But this, he gestured to the lingering golden sparks still dancing occasionally across Goku's skin, this requires knowledge beyond my understanding. Villagers gathered closer, their initial fear giving way to concern. Among them stood Taro, clutching his mother's hand but looking at Goku with unwavering trust. Are you really a god, Goku? The boy asked. Goku knelt to meet the child's eyes. I'm still figuring that out, little warrior. But I promise you this, whatever I am, I'll always protect those who cannot protect themselves. The sun protects all life, Liz added, her ceremonial tone returning. It is Amaterasu's sacred covenant. Goku glanced up at her, a flicker of annoyance crossing his features. Can you stop calling me that? My name is Goku. Something resembling surprise crossed Liz's perfect features. The vessel name and the divine essence are separate yet united, she replied, though her absolute certainty seemed slightly shaken. I will endeavor to honor both aspects. Elder Gohan's weathered hand clasped Goku's shoulder. My time raising you has been the greatest honor of my life, he said quietly. But a bird Rais, Ed in a wolf's den must eventually find its wings. His eyes glistened with unshed tears. Go with the priestess. Learn what she can teach. Then decide your path with the wisdom of both mortal and divine perspectives. Goku looked around at the village that had been his only home, at the faces of people who had accepted his differences without question. The damage from the shadow attack was a stark reminder of the danger his presence now created. I need time, he finally said. To help repair the damage, to prepare, to say proper goodbyes. Liz opened her mouth as if to object, then caught herself. The temple has awaited Amaterasu's return for a millennium. I suppose a few more days changes little. Her formal facade cracked slightly, revealing a hint of compassion beneath. I will assist with repairs as penance for bringing this danger to your doorstep. Penance isn't necessary, Goku replied, studying her with newfound curiosity. But help is always welcome. The festival forgotten, villagers began organizing repair efforts. Goku threw himself into the physical labor, finding comfort in tangible problems that could be solved with muscle and sweat. Occasionally, he caught Liz watching him with an expression he couldn't quite decipher, something between reverence and scientific curiosity. As twilight approached, Elder Gohan insisted on continuing at least some festival traditions. Shadow beasts or not, he declared, the harvest must be honored if we wish for prosperity in the coming year. Lanterns were relit, damaged decorations replaced with simpler versions, food laid out on the surviving tables. Musicians played traditional songs while children enacted the ancient sun dance around the central bonfire. The celebration was subdued compared to previous years. But the defiant continuation itself seemed to lift spirits. Goku found Liz standing apart from the festivities, her ceremonial robes exchanged for simpler white attire that still managed to appear formal among the villagers, colorful clothing. You're missing the celebration, he commented, offering her a plate of festival delicacies. She accepted with a slight bow. Sacred observations require distance for clarity. And what do you observe? He asked, genuinely curious. Liz considered before answering. Resilience. Community. Joy despite darkness. Her amber eyes reflected the dancing flames. These are qualities the prophecies never mentioned, yet they seem central to your village's strength. Because they can't be written in ancient texts, Goku replied, watching the children dance. They have to be lived. Perhaps that is why Amaterasu chose mortal rebirth, she murmured, almost to herself. Some wisdom cannot be gained from the celestial realm. Goku studied her profile, noticing for the first time the small imperfections that made her human despite her otherworldly appearance. A tiny scar near her right eyebrow, the slight asymmetry of her features, the way her fingers fidgeted when she wasn't maintaining her ceremonial stillness. Tell me about the Solarian temple, he requested, settling beside her on a wooden bench. If I'm to consider your invitation, I should know what awaits me. Something like approval flickered in her expression. A prudent inquiry. She set aside her barely touched plate. The Solarian temple stands at the center of Aurum City, capital of Solaria. Its golden spires rise higher than any other structure in the known kingdoms, designed to capture the first and last light of each day. Her voice took on a rhythmic quality, as though reciting beloved poetry. 1,000 priestesses maintain the eternal flame in the central sanctuary, each sworn to preserve the ancient knowledge until Amaterasu's return. We study celestial movements, practice light-based magics, and perform purification rituals to maintain cosmic balance. And what would be expected of me? Goku pressed. Liz hesitated. That is less clearly defined. No living priestess has witnessed a divine awakening. The ancient texts speak of trials to unlock sealed memories, ceremonial confirmations of identity, and eventual ascension to full divinity. She met his eyes directly. But they were written by those who never witnessed the process themselves. Goku appreciated her honesty. So you're asking me to trust you based on prophecies that may not account for someone who's lived 23 years as a mortal man. I am asking you to trust yourself, she corrected gently. The power that manifested today was not priestess lore or wishful interpretation. It was your essence responding to genuine threat. Her composure slipped slightly, revealing genuine concern. That power will emerge again, with or without guidance. The choice is whether you face that emergence prepared or unprepared. Before Goku could respond, Elder Gohan approached, carrying a bundle wrapped in faded red cloth. Forgive the interruption, he said, nodding respectfully to Liz before turning to Goku. There is something you should take with you on your journey, something I had always intended to pass to you when the time was right. He placed the bundle in Goku's hands. The weight and shape felt significant, somehow familiar before he even unwrapped it. The red cloth fell away to reveal a staff of unusual wood that seemed to shift colors in the firelight, sometimes deep amber, sometimes golden, sometimes with grain patterns resembling flames. The power pole, Gohan explained. It was with you when I found you as an infant. I've kept it safe, knowing it would recognize your touch when you were ready. Goku's fingers closed around the staff. Warmth traveled up his arm, a sensation of recognition rather than heat. The wood grain pulsed once with golden light before settling into apparent normalcy. Liz's eyes widened. The divine extension, she whispered. One of Amaterasu's sacred implements, thought lost for centuries. It's just a staff, Goku said. Though he could feel it was anything but ordinary. He gave it an experimental twirl, finding it perfectly balanced despite never having handled it before. Muscle memory he couldn't explain guided his movements as he executed a complex series of forms with flawless precision. Just a staff, Elder Gohan repeated with a knowing smile. Like you are just a man. The celebration continued around them. But Goku felt increasingly distant from it, as though seeing his village life through new eyes. Each familiar face now carried the weight of what leaving would mean, and what staying might cost them. Later that night, unable to sleep, Goku climbed to his favorite meditation spot high above the village. The full moon illuminated the valley, peaceful again after the day's chaos. He sat cross-legged, the power pole across his knees, and tried to make sense of the revelations that had shattered his understanding of himself. Your aura has changed, Liz's voice came from behind him. She had exchanged her white attire for darker clothing that allowed her to move silently through the night. The awakening continues even as you rest. I'm not sure I want it to, Goku admitted, not turning to look at her. I was content with my life here. Liz seated herself nearby, arranging her robes with practiced grace. Contentment is not the same as fulfillment. She gazed up at the stars. The constellations are shifting toward the celestial alignment, the moment when the barriers between mortal and divine realms grow thinnest. That alignment heralds either cosmic renewal or the triumph of void, depending on whether Amaterasu stands ready. Goku sighed. More prophecy. More responsibility I never asked for. Did you ask for the strength that lets you protect this village? She countered. Did you request the reflexes that allow you to catch falling children before they reach ground? Did you demand the heart that compels you to place yourself between danger and the innocent? Her questions struck deeper than he expected. Those are different. Are they? Liz turned to face him fully. Or are they fragments of your true nature expressing themselves through the limitations of mortal form? Goku had no immediate answer. Instead, he changed direction. You speak like a sacred text, but I saw something else today. When you fought, when you helped rebuild, when you watched the children dance. There's a person behind the priestess. A flicker of surprise crossed her features before she composed herself. My duty as guardian priestess supersedes personal identity. That sounds lonely. Goku observed. Loneliness is irrelevant to sacred purpose, she replied automatically, though something in her tone suggested the words were recited rather than felt. Maybe that's what separates us. Goku said thoughtfully. I can't imagine purpose without connection. He gestured toward the sleeping village below. Every person down there has shaped who I am. Their joy, their struggles, their trust. They matter more than any cosmic destiny. Liz was silent for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice carried less ceremony. The temple teachings never addressed this aspect of mortal incarnation. The vessel's attachments to lesser beings. They're not lesser. Goku interrupted firmly. Different, perhaps, but not lesser. She studied him with renewed interest. This perspective may be precisely why Amaterasu chose mortal rebirth, to relearn what divinity alone cannot teach. A comfortable silence fell between them, broken eventually by Goku's practical question. These shadow beasts, will they return? Undoubtedly, Liz confirmed. Today's attack was merely a scouting party, sent to confirm the Void Cult's suspicions. The energy you are Alized will have removed all doubt about your identity. Then I can't stay, Goku concluded reluctantly. Whatever I believe about gods and reincarnation, I won't risk more attacks on innocent people. A wise decision, she approved. When do you wish to depart? Tomorrow, after I've said my goodbyes. He stood in a fluid motion, the power pole naturally finding its place secured across his back. I'll travel to your temple. Learn what I can about these abilities, and find a way to end the threat permanently. The journey will not be simple, Liz warned, rising as well. The mountain passes are treacherous even without Void Cult pursuers, and we must travel through territories where the sun god's name invokes more fear than reverence. Goku offered a confident smile that transformed his serious expression. Good thing you've got me as a traveling companion, then. I've been climbing these mountains since I could walk. Her composure cracked slightly, a ghost of a smile touching her lips. Indeed. Most fortunate. Dawn came too quickly. The village gathered to bid farewell to their strongest protector and the mysterious priestess who had upended their peaceful existence. Elder Gohan presented Goku with a pack containing essentials for the journey, his weathered hands lingering on his adopted son's shoulders. Remember all I have taught you, the old man said, voice thick with emotion. Not just the martial techniques, but the principles behind them. Strength without compassion becomes tyranny. Power without restraint brings destruction. I remember, Father, Goku replied. Using the formal address for the first time in years. I will make you proud. You already have, Gohan assured him. Now go make yourself proud. Children crowded around, extracting promises of eventual return and demonstrations of amazing techniques. Village elders offered blessings according to local tradition. Through it all, Liz observed with quiet attentiveness, her formal demeanor softened by what appeared to be genuine respect for the connections Goku had formed. As they prepared to depart, Taro pushed through the crowd, clutching a crudely carved wooden pendant. I made this for you, the boy said, presenting it to Goku. It's the sun symbol from the old stories. For protection. Goku knelt, accepting the gift with the same solemnity he would a priceless treasure. I will keep it with me always. He promised, slipping the cord over his head. The simple wooden disc settled against his chest, a tangible reminder of what he fought to protect. With final waves and the village's blessing, Goku and Liz set out along the eastern mountain path. The journey had begun. A mortal man with awakening divinity and a priestess caught between duty and growing human connection. Heading toward a destiny neither fully understood. As they crested the first ridge, Goku paused for a last look at Hikari village, committing its peaceful beauty to memory. I will return, he vowed quietly. The sun always returns. Liz affirmed beside him, her ceremonial tone softened by the genuine emotion she no longer tried completely to hide. It is the promise that sustains all life. Together they turned eastward, where the distant spires of the Solarian temple awaited beyond the horizon, golden and gleaming in the morning light. Chapter 1 End Chapter 2 The Warrior's Challenge. The mountain path narrowed as it curved around a granite outcropping, forcing Goku and Liz to walk single file. 3 days had passed since leaving Hikari village, each bringing them higher into the mist-shrouded peaks that formed the natural boundary between Solarian territories and the warrior nation of Yukyu. The air thinned with elevation, carrying the crisp scent of snow from distant summits. Goku led the way, instinctively finding secure footing even as loose shale shifted beneath them. The power pole strapped across his back gleamed occasionally with subdued golden light, responding to its wielder's energy in ways neither traveler fully understood. Behind him, Liz maintained steady progress despite her temple upbringing, her practical dark traveling clothes replacing ceremonial robes. The pass ahead marks the traditional boundary, Liz noted, her formal speech patterns unchanged despite their days of travel. Beyond lies Yukyu territory, where Solarian priestesses receive limited welcome. Goku glanced back, noting the careful neutrality in her expression. Limited meaning. Meaning they might try to kill us on sight, she replied with unexpected bluntness. The Yukyu clans maintain ancestral grievances against the sun god's lineage dating back to the First Shadow War. Wonderful, Goku muttered, pausing at a flat section of trail to let her catch up. Any other warnings you've been saving for this moment? A ghost of a smile touched Liz's lips. Several. Would you prefer them chronologically or in order of potential lethality? The unexpected humor caught Goku off guard. He laughed, the sound echoing against the mountainside. The priestess makes jokes. The world truly is changing. Sacred texts contain no prohibitions against humor, she responded primly. Though her eyes held a warmth absent in their early interactions. Merely against frivolity at inappropriate moments. And hiking through potentially hostile territory qualifies as appropriate. Precisely because of the danger, Liz confirmed. Tension clouds judgment. Appropriate levity creates clarity. Goku studied her with renewed interest. You're not what I expected, guardian priestess. Few things are. When prophecies meet reality, she replied, her gaze shifting to the path ahead. The boundary stone approaches. We should discuss strategy before crossing. The boundary marker loomed 20 paces ahead, an ancient monolith carved with symbols representing both sun and shadow in eternal opposition. Weather had worn the once sharp edges into rounded contours. Yet the power imbued within remained palpable even to Goku's untrained senses. The fastest route to Solarian territory crosses through the Five Peaks Valley, Liz explained, withdrawing a small scroll from her pack and unrolling a meticulously detailed map. However, that places us directly through Yukyu's most sacred training grounds. Goku examined the map, quickly identifying alternative routes with a tracker's practiced eye. We could circumvent their territory entirely by following this eastern ridge, but that adds 8 days to our journey. 8 days during which the Void Cult continues their preparations. Liz reminded him. The celestial alignment approaches regardless of our pace. Goku nodded. Decision made. Then we proceed through Yukyu territory. If confronted, we'll explain our mission. Surely they understand the threat void energy poses to all kingdoms. Understanding and acceptance are separate matters, Liz cautioned. The Yukyu believe Amaterasu Abondo. Ned their ancestors during the Shadow War, leaving thousands to die when darkness consumed their southern territories. Is it true? Goku asked, the question simple yet profound. Liz's composure faltered momentarily. Temple histories record a strategic withdrawal to consolidate power against the primary void breach. Tactical necessity rather than abandonment. From the temple's perspective, Goku noted. I imagine the Yukyu remember it differently. History is written by survivors, she acknowledged quietly. And interpreted through the lens of their suffering. The philosophical exchange ended abruptly as Goku's posture changed, his senses alerting him to movement ahead. He raised one hand in warning, instantly shifting from relaxed traveler to combat-ready warrior. "We're being watched," he murmured, eyes scanning the rocky outcroppings above the trail. "3, no, 4 observers. They've been tracking us since daybreak." Liz tensed beside him. "Void cult." "No," Goku replied, his enhanced senses cataloging subtle details. "Their energy signatures feel disciplined, controlled, martial rather than magical. Yukyu scouts, most likely." "Then we have already been judged," Liz sighed. "Best to acknowledge them directly rather than pretend ignorance." Goku nodded agreement, then called out with deliberate clarity, "We seek peaceful passage through Yukyu territory. We bring no threat to your people." Silence answered for several heartbeats before rocks clattered down from above. 4 figures descended with remarkable agility, landing in strategic positions that effectively boxed in the travelers. Each wore-fitted leather armor reinforced with metal plates across vital areas, decorated with distinctive clan markings in red and black. Their faces remained partially concealed behind half-masks, revealing only evaluating eyes above. The tallest stepped forward, authority evident in his bearing. "Solarian priestess and unknown companion," he stated in accented common tongue. "You approach sacred boundary without permission or escort." "We journey to the Solarian temple on matters concerning all kingdoms," Liz replied formally. "The threat we counter recognizes no boundaries between nations." Quote. The leader's attention shifted to Goku, eyes narrowing at the power pole strapped across his back. "You carry a weapon of unusual design. Identify yourself and your purpose." Before Goku could respond, one of the other scouts stepped closer, head tilting with obvious interest. Unlike the others, this figure moved with an almost predatory grace. When the scout removed their mask, Goku found himself facing a woman approximately his age, her features striking rather than conventionally beautiful, high cheekbones, determined jaw, and eyes sharp with intelligence. Most distinctive was her hair, cropped short on the sides but forming a top knot secured with red leather bindings, dyed crimson at the tips. "I know what he carries," she stated, her voice carrying both authority and unmistakable hostility. "The divine extension. The sun staff." Her hand moved to the curved blade at her hip. "Which makes him either a temple thief or something far worse." The leader glanced at her with deference despite her youth. "You are certain, Princess Kira?" "Princess," Goku echoed, reassessing the situation's complexity. The woman, Kira, ignored the interruption, her focus unwavering. "My ancestress faced that weapon during the abandonment. Its image is carved into our sacred hall." Her eyes locked with Goku's, challenge evident. "Only one bloodline wields it legitimately." "This grows complicated," Liz murmured, subtle golden energy beginning to gather around her hands, a protective preparation rather than immediate threat. Kira noticed the energy manifestation, her posture shifting to combat readiness. The priestess prepares battle magic while claiming peaceful intent. Typical Solarian duplicity. "We mean no disrespect to Yukyu traditions," Goku interjected, deliberately keeping his hands visible and non-threatening. "We seek passage, not conflict." "Then surrender the divine staff and submit to escort to White Tiger Village," Kira demanded. "The Council of Elders will determine your fate." Goku's expression hardened slightly. "The staff isn't mine to surrender. It was entrusted to me." "By whom?" Kira's hand tightened on her sword hilt. The moment stretched between them, tension building until Liz broke the impasse with unexpected directness. "By Amaterasu," she stated firmly. "He carries it because he is the sun god reborn in mortal flesh. Just as ancient prophecies foretold." The declaration landed like a thunderclap. The scouts exchanged alarmed glances while Kira's expression transformed from suspicion to cold fury. "You dare," she hissed, drawing her blade in a single fluid motion. "You bring the Abandoner's vessel to our sacred lands and expect passage." Goku moved instinctively, placing himself between Liz and the increasingly hostile Yukyu warriors. "I don't claim to be anyone's god," he clarified firmly. "I'm still figuring out exactly what I am." "A wise qualification," came a new voice from above. All eyes turned upward as a fifth figure descended, an elderly man whose weathered features suggested decades of sun and battle. Despite his apparent age, he moved with the fluid grace of a master martial artist. His simple gray clothing bore no rank insignia, yet the scouts immediately straightened to attention. Grandmaster Joe, Kira acknowledged, sheathing her blade without fully abandoning her aggressive stance. The old man surveyed the confrontation with calm assessment. Princess Kira, your vigilance honors your ancestors. However, diplomacy precedes combat when threats remain unproven. They claim he embodies our greatest betrayer, Kira objected, her disciplined tone failing to mask underlying emotion. All the more reason for careful verification, Joe countered mildly. He turned his evaluating gaze to Goku. The divine extension responds only to its true wielder. May I observe it in your hands? Goku hesitated, glancing at Liz, who gave a subtle nod. With deliberate movements, he unstrapped the staff and held it horizontally across his palms. Simply holding it proves nothing, Kira muttered. Indeed, Joe agreed. Young man, are you familiar with the extension command? I'm not, Goku admitted. I've only had the staff for days. Joe's expression revealed nothing. The wielder need only focus intent while speaking its true name. Which is? Goku prompted. If you are who the priestess claims, you already know it, Joe replied. Not in your conscious mind, perhaps, but in your essence. Goku frowned, concentrating on the staff resting across his palms. Its weight felt increasingly familiar with each passing day, as though his hands had been shaped to hold it. He closed his eyes, seeking not memory but intuition, the same instinctive knowledge that guided his martial techniques. A name surfaced from somewhere deep within his consciousness, feeling simultaneously foreign and intimately familiar. His eyes opened, now containing flecks of gold among their normal dark coloration. Nyoibo, he stated quietly. The staff responded immediately, pulsing with golden light that spread to envelop Goku's hands. Without conscious decision, he executed a series of complex movements, the staff extending, contracting, and flowing around his body in patterns that seemed choreographed by ancient memory rather than present skill. The demonstrati on ended with Goku returning to a neutral stance, the staff's glow subsiding to dormant state. He blinked, momentarily disoriented by the experience of his body moving through sequences he had never trained. Joe observed with unreadable expression before turning to Kira. The staff acknowledges him. A parlor trick proves nothing, she insisted, though with less conviction. Ancient texts warn of false prophets bearing stolen relics. Then we shall apply more definitive tests, Joe decided. The tournament of 5 peaks begins tomorrow at White Tiger Village. If this young man truly carries divine essence, let him demonstrate it in honorable combat rather than supernatural display. Kira's expression shifted from hostility to calculating interest. The tournament's final rounds are reserved for those of proven bloodlines. As princess of the dominant clan, you could sponsor an outsider's participation, Joe suggested with calculated innocence. Under your personal responsibility, of course. A predatory smile spread across Kira's features. I accept this duty, Grandmaster. I shall personally ensure the alleged god vessel receives proper examination. The threatening undertone wasn't lost on Goku, who responded with a confident smile of his own. I accept your hospitality and the tournament invitation. Combat seems a more productive introduction than continued argument. Then it is settled, Joe declared. Princess Kira will escort our guests to White Tiger Village. The tournament will test claims of exceptional ability, after which the Council of Elders will determine whether passage through our territory is warranted. Liz stepped forward. The threat we journey to counter grows stronger each day. We cannot afford unnecessary delay. Yet you must afford it nonetheless. Joe replied firmly. Yukyu sovereignty is not subordinate to Solarian urgency. Recognizing the immovable position, Goku placed a calming hand on Liz's shoulder. 3D. AYS of tournament seems a reasonable exchange for safe passage through your most sacred territories, he conceded diplomatically. We accept your terms, Grandmaster. The tension dissipated marginal. Why as practical arrangements replaced immediate confrontation. Kira issued rapid instructions to the other scouts, sending 2 ahead to announce their arrival while the remaining pair took flanking positions around the travelers. White Tiger Village lies 4 hours ahead, she informed them curtly. We move at warrior pace. Try to keep up. The challenge in her voice was unmistakable. Goku merely nodded, adjusting his pack with easy confidence. Lead the way, Princess. The journey proceeded in tense silence, the pace deliberately punishing as they descended into the valley. Kira set a route. That maximized difficulty. Narrow ledges, steep scrambles, and treacherous scree slopes that required constant attention. Goku navigated each challenge with fluid adaptability, occasionally extending a helping hand to Liz despite her determined self-sufficiency. Their route curved around the eastern face of the tallest peak, revealing a spectacular valley nestled between 5 distinctive mountain summits. Far below, a substantial settlement spread across the valley floor, its architecture a harmonious blend of practical functionality and artistic tradition. Curved rooftops rose in graceful tiers, their red tiles vibrant against whitewashed walls. Even from distance, the settlement hummed with purposeful activity. White Tiger Village, Kira announced with evident pride. Heart of Yukyu. Culture and training ground for our greatest warriors. It's beautiful, Goku observed sincerely. The buildings follow the natural contours of the land rather than imposing upon them. Something resembling approval flickered across Kira's features before her mask of hostility returned. We honor the mountains that shelter us. Unlike Solarian cities with their imposed geometries and unnatural heights. Liz bristled visibly at the criticism but maintained diplomatic silence. As they descended the final approach, evidence of the impending tournament became increasingly apparent. Colorful banners stretched between buildings, each displaying clan symbols and martial accomplishments. Temporary structures had been erected around a massive central plaza where workers prepared fighting rings of various sizes. Warriors in distinctive training garb practiced in designated areas, their techniques revealing diverse combat philosophies unified by disciplined execution. Their arrival drew immediate attention. Conversations halted as villagers noticed the Solarian priestess and her unusual companion. Children paused in their play, staring openly at the strangers before adults ushered them inside with hurried whispers. Your presence disrupts festival harmony, Kira noted with evident satisfaction. Another debt you accumulate. One we'll repay with respectful participation, Goku responded evenly. Kira led them to a modest building near the village periphery, clearly designated for visitors but positioned to limit their access to more significant areas. You will remain here until tournament registration this evening. Attempt to wander, and your journey ends permanently. With that pleasant welcome, she departed with military precision, leaving a single guard positioned outside their accommodations. Once alone, Liz's formal composure cracked slightly. This complicates matters significantly. The Yukyu warriors will not easily accept your divine nature, regardless of tournament outcome. Then I won't ask them to, Goku replied, setting down his pack and examining their quarters with practical assessment. I'll simply demonstrate enough skill to earn passage rights without triggering celestial debates. Quote, the princess clearly intends to face you personally, Liz cautioned. Her hostility suggests she seeks more than simple tournament victory. Goku nodded thoughtfully. There's something personal in her opposition. Not just ancestral grievance but immediate anger. He glanced at Liz. What aren't you telling me about the sun god's history with these people? Liz hesitated, internal conflict evident in her expression. Finally, she sighed and seated herself on a simple cushion. Temple histories record the strategic withdrawal during the Shadow War as necessary sacrifice. Smaller territories were abandoned to protect the central kingdoms where the final binding rituals could be performed. But, Goku prompted, but personal journals from that suggest Amaterasu made promises of protection to the Yukyu clans in exchange for their warriors serving as the front line against void manifestations. Her voice dropped. Promises subsequently Ken when the darkness advanced more rapidly than anticipated. Goku absorbed this with grave expression. So their hostility isn't merely historical grudge but legitimate sense of betrayal. The divine perspective spans millennia. Liz offered, though her justification sounded hollow even to her own ears. Tactical necessities in cosmic war sometimes require mortal sacrifice. Not to those sacrificed, Goku countered firmly. And not to me. If I truly carry this god's essence, then I also inherit responsibility for his mistakes. Liz appeared startled by this perspective. Divine beings don't make mistakes. They operate with perfect knowledge across time streams humans cannot comprehend. Then why reincarnate as human at all? Goku challenged. Why not simply manifest in full divine glory? There must be something in human experience this Amaterasu needed to reclaim. Before Liz could respond, a sharp rap at the entrance interrupted their philosophical debate. The door slid open to reveal Grandmaster Joe. now dressed in formal robes that marked his status more clearly. I trust your accommodations are adequate. He inquired with perfect politeness that nonetheless conveyed limited concern for the actual answer. Perfectly suitable, Goku replied with equal formality. We appreciate Yukyu hospitality despite the complicated circumstances. Joe studied him with renewed interest. You demonstrate unexpected diplomacy for one raised in isolated mountains. Elder Gohan believed courtesy costs nothing yet purchases much, Goku explained with a slight smile. Though, he typically demonstrated this philosophy after throwing me into the nearest lake for training infractions. Unexpected amusement flickered across Joe's weathered features. Your master sounds one I might have enjoyed sharing tea with. His expression sobered. Tournament registration begins at sunset. As outsiders, you face additional scrutiny. I suggest you prepare accordingly. After Joe's departure, Goku and Liz used the remaining daylight hours to rest and strategize. Liz provided what knowledge she possessed of Yukyu fighting techniques, while Goku performed subtle stretching exercises to counter the journey's rigors. Their primary martial art is called Shadow Fist, Liz explained. It emphasizes redirecting an opponent's energy rather than opposing it directly, making aggression counterproductive. Similar to principles Elder Gohan taught, Goku noted. Though he never named his style, Yukyu fighters will expect typical Solarian techniques from you, direct and power-focused, Liz continued. Your adaptability may provide tactical advantage. Sunset painted the village in crimson and gold as they were finally escorted to the central plaza for registration. The atmosphere had transformed from afternoon preparation to evening celebration. Lanterns illuminated the gathering space where hundreds of warriors and spectators congregated. Vendors sold regional delicacies from stalls around the periphery, while musicians played traditional instruments on a raised platform. At the plaza's center stood an elevated platform where clan representatives received competitor registrations. Kira stood among them, now dressed in formal fighting attire, a sleeveless black tunic with red trim over fitted trousers, her clan insignia emblazoned across the back in meta LLIC thread that caught the lantern light. Their escort guided them directly to her, cutting through the crowd that parted with curious murmurs. Kira acknowledged their arrival with minimal courtesy. The outsider wishes to compete? She inquired, though the question was clearly rhetorical. I do, Goku confirmed steadily. Tournament tradition requires all competitors be sponsored by established clans. She explained with exaggerated patience. As discussed, I shall provide that sponsorship, with conditions. Which are? Goku prompted. First, you compete without your staff. All weapons are forbidden until the final rounds. Goku nodded acceptance. Reasonable. Second, you will be entered in the Master Division rather than open class, placing you against our most accomplished fighters. Another reasonable stipulation given his claimed identity, though clearly intended to eliminate him quickly. Third, she continued with a predatory smile, when you inevitably fall to Yukyu superiority. You will publicly renounce all claims to divine heritage before departing our territory, staff surrendered as penalty for presumption. The third condition revealed her true agenda, humiliation and acquisition of the divine extension. Liz stiffened beside him, clearly preparing to object to terms that violated their mission's purpose. Before she could speak, Goku responded calmly. I accept your first two conditions without reservation. For the third, I propose an alternative. I've made no public claims to divinity requiring renunciation. Instead, should I fail to reach the tournament finals, we will depart immediately via the longer eastern route, removing our presence from your sacred valley without delay. Kira's eyes narrowed at his diplomatic counter-offer. And the staff remains with me regardless of outcome, he stated firmly. Its disposition is not negotiable. A tense silence followed as Kira considered his modified terms. Finally, she nodded sharply. Acceptable compromise. But I add one stipulation. Should you reach finals, you face me personally as clan champion. I would expect nothing less, Goku replied with a slight bow that somehow nagged to convey respect without subservience. Registration completed, they received tournament brackets and schedule. Preliminary rounds would begin at dawn, with Goku assigned to the first morning block. Competitors were permitted to observe other matches, allowing assessment of potential opponents. As they turned to leave, Kira called after them. One final courtesy. Alleged god vessel. What F? IGHTING style shall we record for the tournament scrolls? Goku considered before answering. Simply record. Mountain style. It's sufficient description. A style without lineage or history, she noted dismissively. Fitting for one making unprecedented claims. Every tradition begins somewhere. Princess, he replied with unexpected philosophical depth. Even your shadow fist was once simply movements discovered by someone seeking effective combat. Her expression suggested he'd scored an unexpected point in their verbal sparring. With a curt nod, she turned her attention to the next registrant, dismissing them from her immediate concern. Their escort returned them to their assigned quarters, where simple but substantial food awaited. Goku ate with characteristic enthusiasm while Is picked more delicately at unfamiliar dishes. You managed that confrontation with surprising diplomacy, she observed. The princess clearly intended to provoke more dramatic reaction. Goku shrugged. Getting angry would only confirm her expectations. Besides, he added with a hint of mischief, there's no rule against exceeding expectations inside the fighting ring. Dawn arrived with ceremonial drumming echoing through the village. Goku had risen before first light, performing a private meditation routine that centered his energy and prepared his mind for the challenges ahead. He said in his simplest GI, unadorned white fabric that would draw minimal attention while allowing complete freedom of movement. The preliminary rounds were structured to efficiently eliminate weaker competitors. 8 fighting rings operated simultaneously, each overseen by judges who enforced rules with absolute authority. Elimination required either surrender, ring out, or inability to continue, deliberate injury bringing immediate disqualification and clan disgrace. Goku's first opponent clearly expected quick victory over the foreign interloper. A powerfully built man with elaborate clan tattoos covering his arms. He entered the ring with the confident swagger of local favorite. The crowd's enthusiastic response confirmed his popularity. Outsiders should respect their limitations. The man advised loudly enough for nearby spectators to hear. No shame in immediate surrender. Goku merely smiled, settling into a neutral stance that revealed nothing of his capabilities. The starting drum sounded, and his opponent launched a textbook shadow fist opening sequence, feinting with rapid hand strikes while positioning for a sweeping leg technique. Rather than counter with expected aggression, Goku simply wasn't where the attacks should have landed. His movements contained no wasted energy, each shift of weight or position occurring with preternatural timing that made his evasions appear effortless. After 3 failed combination attacks, his opponent's confidence wavered visibly. Fight properly, he demanded, frustration evident. I'm merely following Shadow Fist principles, Goku replied calmly. Redirecting energy rather than opposing it. The taunt landed effectively, provoking an overly committed attack that left momentary imbalance. Goku finally counter-moved. A precise palm strike to the sternum that contained exactly enough force to push his opponent backward across the ring boundary without causing injury. The match ended in under 30 seconds. Absolute silence fell across the nearby spectators, broken by the judge's mechanical announcement. Victor by ring out, mountain-style competitor. Goku bowed respectfully to his defeated opponent, then to the judges. Before exiting the ring with the same calm focus he'd entered with. No celebration, no excessive movement, just efficient completion of necessary task. Liz awaited at the designated competitor area. Impressive restraint, she noted quietly. First rounds reveal nothing except essentials, he replied. Tactical fundamentals Elder Gohan drilled into me for years. His subsequent preliminary matches followed similar patterns, opponents underestimating his capabilities until facing his uncanny defensive precision, followed by minimal counter techniques that secured victory without unnecessary display. By midday, he had advanced to the intermediate rounds while revealing almost nothing of his true capabilities. Word spread quickly through the tournament grounds. Spectators began gathering specifically to observe the mysterious outsider whose fighting style seemed simultaneously familiar yet impossible to categorize within known traditions. More significantly, Goku noticed Grandmaster Joe observing his third match with evaluating attention, accompanied by several elderly Ukyu masters who conferred quietly after his victory. The intermediate rounds presented more substantial challenges as genuinely skilled practitioners advanced from other brackets. Goku adjusted his approach accordingly, demonstrating greater technical range while maintaining his energy conservation strategy. Each victory earned increasingly respectful acknowledgement from the crowd, though always tinged with the underlying tension of outsider status. Between matches, Goku observed other competitors, particularly Kira, whose preliminary bouts revealed exceptional technical mastery. Her Shadow Fist style incorporated unusual variations that opponents clearly found unpredictable. She dispatched head challengers with clinical efficiency, her expression remaining intensely focused regardless of opponent's skill level. She fights with something to prove, Goku noted to Liz after watching Kira's fourth consecutive victory. The burden of royal lineage, Liz replied. Yukyu tradition demands clan leaders demonstrate physical mastery alongside political authority. By late afternoon, the tournament field had narrowed dramatically. The quarterfinal announcements confirmed what many spectators had already anticipated. Both Goku and Kira had advanced to the Elite Eight, though in separate B brackets that would prevent their meeting before the finals. The atmosphere intensified as quarterfinal matches commenced on the central platform, elevated for better visibility and surrounded by the entire village population. Cultural significance transcended mere sporting competition. These matches determined which fighters would represent clan honor in the final rounds. Goku's quarterfinal OPP Anand represented a fundamental challenge shift. Unlike previous fighters who underestimated him, Master Feng entered the ring with careful respect and immediate acknowledgement. Your preliminary victories were impressive, the older fighter stated during the traditional pre-match greeting. But quarters require revealing one's true measure. Goku bowed respectfully. I look forward to the exchange. From the opening moments, the difference became apparent. Master Feng possessed the predictive timing that comes only from decades of devoted practice. He anticipated Goku's evasions with uncanny accuracy, forcing increasingly complex defensive patterns that revealed more of Goku's capabilities than previous matches combined. For the first time, Goku found himself genuinely challenged. After 5 minutes of increasingly intense exchanges, neither competitor had gained decisive advantage. The crowd's initial polite attention transformed into genuine engagement, appreciative murmurs acknowledging particularly skillful sequences from both fighters. Master Feng executed a brilliantly disguised combination that nearly secured victory, a false telegraph that baited Goku's counter, fall. Owed by a spinning technique that exploited the momentary commitment. Only Goku's extraordinary reflexes allowed last-instant adjustment that converted certain defeat into narrow escape. Impressive adaptation. Feng acknowledged during momentary distancing. Most would have fallen. As would I against most opponents, Goku returned sincerely. The acknowledgement shifted something in their exchange. What had been technical challenge elevated into something approaching artistic collaboration. Two masters pushing each other to increasingly refined expression of martial principles. The decisive sequence came near the 10-minute mark. Feng initiated a classic Shadow Fist pressure series designed to create compound reactions. Rather than conventional defense, Goku employed a counterintuitive approach, stepping directly into the technique's core while executing a palm rotation that nullified its angular momentum. The maneuver required perfect timing, spatial awareness, and kinesthetic understanding that transcended mere technical knowledge. The move's success created momentary advantage that Goku converted into victory through a sweeping sequence that culminated with Feng finding himself at the platform edge. Balance compromise beyond recovery. Yield, the master declared before Goku could complete the final movement. Continuation would merely confirm the inevitable. The DGE announced victory as both competitors bowed with genuine mutual respect. As they left the platform, Feng spoke quietly. Your mountain style contains movements I've encountered in only one histo. Raikal scroll, techniques attributed to the divine traditions before the Shadow War. Goku neither confirmed nor denied the observation. All effective movement ultimately discovers similar truths. The body's mechanics have their own inherent wisdom. The semifinals brought another elevation in challenge. Goku's opponent, a woman named Lin Ji, employed a variant fighting method emphasizing explosive speed over sustained combinations. Her previous matches had ended in under 2 minutes each, earning her the tournament nickname, Sudden Ending. Their bout quickly justified the spectator anticipation. Lin's attacking velocity forced Goku into his most dynamic defensive patterns yet, revealing agility that seemed to defy physical limitation. Her techniques contained brilliant misdirection elements, eyes indicating one target while body committed to another, shifting attack angles mid-execution, and instantaneous recovery from seemingly compromised positions. For the first time in the tournament, Goku found himself genuinely enjoying the challenge beyond tactical consideration. The exchange evolved into something transcending mere competition, each competitor discovering new expressive possibilities through the other's excellence. The decisive sequence emerged unexpectedly. Lin executed her signature, Swallow's Flight technique, a simultaneous three-vector attack that had previously proven indefensible. Goku's response combined instinctive reaction with analytical precision, his body flowing through impossible angles to neutralize each component individually while maintaining cohesive counterposition. The crowd's reaction confirmed the exceptional nature of the exchange. Complete silence followed by spontaneous applause that acknowledged artistry beyond clan loyalty. Lin's expression registered appreciation despite her competitive intensity. The match concluded when Goku finally employed offensive initiative, not through power but through geometrically perfect positioning that left Lin unable to establish viable counter options. Her surrender came with genuine respect rather than disappointment. Your movement contains wisdom beyond technique, she acknowledged. DGED during the traditional post-match gesture. I am honored by the exchange. With semifinals completed, the tournament structure dictated a night's pause before the championship round. The finalists, Goku and, unsurprisingly, Kira, would meet the following morning in the ceremonial Grand Ring, their contest now elevated beyond mere competition to cultural significance. As Goku left the tournament grounds, Grandmaster Joe intercepted him, gesturing toward a secluded garden where privacy seemed assured. Your performance exceeds conventional explanation, the old master stated without preamble. Even accounting for exceptional natural talent and dedicated training. Goku maintained respectful silence, awaiting the actual question beneath the observation. Princess Kira believes you misrepresent your nature. Joe continued. That your claimed divine connection dishonors our ancestral suffering. I make no claims, Goku clarified. The priestess speaks from her tradition's perspective. I merely seek to understand abilities of experienced since childhood. Joe's weathered features revealed nothing. Tomorrow's final match carries significance beyond tournament victory. Princess fights to validate generations of righteous grievance. Her technical mastery is unquestioned, but her emotional investment creates vulnerability. You're warning me? Goku asked, somewhat surprised. I'm contextualizing. Joe corrected. How you respond to her inevitable emotional escalation will reveal more than any priestess prophecy. Before Goku could request clarification, the Grandmaster departed with the same efficient movement that characterized all his actions, present one moment, gone the next without apparent transition. Upon returning to their quarters, Goku found is engaged in what appeared to be ceremonial meditation, golden energy flowing in controlled patterns around her seated form. She concluded the ritual as he entered, the energy dissipating into ambient atmosphere. Scrying for void cult movement, she explained before he could ask. Our delay has consequences beyond this village. Anything specific? He inquired, concern evident. Shadow disturbances along our projected path. She confirmed. They anticipate our eventual departure regardless of tournament outcome. Goku absorbed this with characteristic calm. Then we'll be prepared. He settled into simple stretching routines to release accumulated tension from the day's matches. The final tomorrow brings additional complications. The princess fights with personal vendetta, not merely competitive spirit. Her ancestral grievance clouds judgment, Liz noted dismissively. Or perhaps it provides clarity we lack, Goku countered. There's legitimacy in her anger if Amaterasu truly abandoned her people. Liz's composure faltered slightly. Divine perspective spans cosmic scales. What appears abandonment might serve greater protection across longer timeframes. That fickle distinction means little to those who suffered immediate consequences, Goku observed. If I truly carry this god's essence, perhaps understanding mortal perspective on divine decisions is exactly why reincarnation was necessary. The priestess had no immediate response to this insight, suggesting his words had found purchase in her carefully maintained worldview. Morning arrived with ceremonial significance beyond previous tournament days. Drums began before dawn, their rhythms more complex and traditional. When Goku and Liz emerged, they found the village transformed. Ancestral banners hung from every building. Incense burned at small shrines throughout the community, and villagers wore formal attire indicating the day's cultural importance. The tournament arena had likewise evolved. The elevated grand ring stood alone in the plaza center, surrounded by tiered seating constructed overnight. Ceremonial guards in ancient armor formations took positions at cardinal points, while musicians played traditional compositions from a dedicated platform. Hira arrived with formal escort, clan elders, warrior priests, and personal attendants forming a ceremonial procession that emphasized her position beyond mere tournament competitor. Her fighting attire combined practical functionality with symbolic elements, the traditional black and red now augmented with ancestral tokens and ceremonial markings. Goku entered without comparable pageantry, his simple white gi unadorned except for the wooden sun pendant Taro had gifted him. The contrast seemed deliberate, royal lineage and cultural tradition against individual seeker with uncertain heritage. The ceremonial opening lasted nearly an hour. Historical recitations, ancestral acknowledgments, and ritual purifications of the fighting space. Throughout these proceedings, Hira maintained intense focus, her gaze rarely leaving Goku as though attempting to deconstruct him through observation alone. When the competitors finally entered the ring, Grandmaster Joe himself served as central judge, his presence elevating the match beyond standard tournament protocol. This final contest transcends ordinary competition, he announced for all gathered. Princess Kira represents unbroken Yukyu lineage and responsibility. Her opponent represents unknown potential and unverified tradition. May their exchange reveal truth beyond assumption. The traditional pre-match bow contained none of the mutual respect Goku had shared with previous opponents. Hira's posture communicated clear intent. This was no mere tournament final but personal mission. The opening drum strike released them from ceremonial stillness. Hira launched forward with explosive velocity that exceeded any previous competitor, her initial combination containing technical perfection alongside emotional intensity that created unique fighting chemistry. Goku adapted instantly, his defensive movements maintaining precise calibration despite the unprecedented attack quality. The opening exchange established fundamental patterns, her aggression against his adaptability, her emotional commitment against his centered calm, her inherited purpose against his emerging identity. Unlike previous matches, this contest immediately ascended beyond technical exchange into something approaching philosophical debate expressed through physical medium. Each sequence contained statement and counter-statement, assertion and questioning response. The crowd's reaction confirmed the exceptional nature of the contest. Rather than partisan support for their princess, the spectators fell into appreciative silence, recognizing they witnessed something transcending ordinary competition. After 5 minutes of increasingly complex exchanges, neither competitor had established definitive advantage. Hira's expression reflected both frustration and growing respect, her absolute confidence in easy victory clearly shaken by Goku's unprecedented defensive capabilities. "You fight with remarkable restraint," she noted during momentary distancing. "Almost as though limiting your true capacity. The purpose is exchange, not dominance," Goku replied simply. Her eyes narrowed. "Condescension will not spare you defeat." The accusation triggered escalation. Hira abandoned tournament convention, shifting into techniques clearly derived from sacred rather than public tradition. Her movements incorporated elements Goku recognized as parallel to his own intuitive abilities, not supernatural but transcending conventional physical limitation. For the first time, Goku found himself genuinely challenged to maintain defensive integrity. Several strikes penetrated his guard, landing with impact that would have incapacitated ordinary fighters. The attacks revealed Hira's true capability, not merely tournament champion but warrior trained for existential combat. The shift necessitated responsive adaptation. Goku began employing counter techniques derived from his intuitive connection to the power pole, despite the weapon's physical absence. His body moved through sequences that seemed remembered rather than learned, each position flowing naturally into the next with geometric precision that defied conventional martial development. Spectators with historical knowledge recognized the significance. Murmurs spread through elder sections as ancient movements, previously known only through historical scrolls, manifested in living demonstration. Grandmaster Joe's expression remained impassive, though his absolute attention confirmed the moment's importance. The contest's nature transformed as both competitors abandoned tournament pretense, engaging in increasingly authentic expression of their true capabilities. Kira's techniques incorporated Shadow F. East variations clearly developed specifically against solar-based opponents, counters designed for divine-affiliated combat rather than mortal competition. Goku responded with increasingly fluid adaptation, his defensive patterns evolving mid-exchange to neutralize techniques that should have been unfamiliar. Something deeper than conscious training guided his responses, muscle memory that preceded his current lifetime. The decisive sequence began when Kira employed her clan's secret technique, the Shadow Severance, designed specifically to disrupt connections between physical and divine energies. The attack targeted not Goku's body but the underlying energy patterns sustaining his extraordinary capabilities. For an instant, genuine vulnerability flickered across his features as the technique connected. Golden energy briefly visible beneath his skin fluctuated erratically, creating momentary dissonance between intent and execution. Kira pressed her advantage with textbook precision, unching the combination that had secured her previous tournament victories. The moment of crisis triggered deeper response. Goku's eyes flashed golden as something fundamental shifted in his energy signature. Without conscious decision, his counter-movement incorporated elements beyond physical technique, solar essence responding to existential threat. The resulting exchange transcended conventional combat entirely. Golden afterimages trailed Goku's movements while shadow-like energy extensions accompanied Kira's techniques. Their contest ascended into representative conflict, light and shadow, divine and mortal. Cosmic principle rather than personal competition. Spectators fell into absolute silence, many kneeling instinctively before display that confirmed ancient legends. Grandmaster Joe himself appeared momentarily shaken, recognition dawning in his ancient eyes. The culmination came when both competitors launched simultaneous techniques of ultimate commitment, Kira's Shadow Cons. Unction against Goku's instinctive solar flare. The energies collided at ring center, creating momentary stalemate before resolution would determine victory. In that suspended moment, something unexpected occurred. Rather than overwhelming Kira's technique through superior power, which the gathering golden energy clearly could have accomplished, Goku deliberately stabilized the interaction, creating balance rather than dominance. The choice registered in Kira's expression, confusion followed by dawning comprehension. The anticipated conquest replaced by respectful equilibrium. Centuries of anticipated vengeance against divine betrayal disrupted by unexpected acknowledgement. Goku spoke into the suspended moment, his voice carrying throughout the silent arena. Your ancestors deserved better. The divine perspective failed to honor mortal sacrifice. The acknowledgement landed with physical impact. Kira's technique faltered not through weakness but through philosophical disruption, her entire purpose predicated on confronting denial rather than acceptance. The energy balance shifted, not through conquest but through reconciliation. As the techniques dispersed, both competitors remained standing. Neither having secured technical victory yet something profound having transpired nonetheless. Grandmaster Joe stepped forward, his ceremonial authority suddenly relevant beyond sporting judgment. This contest concludes in mutual acknowledgement. Neither competitor submits, yet both recognize completion. The unprecedented ruling might have generated controversy under ordinary circumstances. Instead, absolute silence held as the significance registered throughout the gathering. Centuries of anticipated confrontation had transformed into something more complex than simple victory or defeat. Kira and Goku completed the formal match, concluding both with profoundly altered relationship, adversaries still, yet connected through mutual recognition that transcended their initial antagonism. The ceremonial conclusion had barely completed when distant commotion disrupted the settled atmosphere. Guards from the village perimeter arrived with urgent reports, strange atmospheric disturbances approaching from the northern ridge, darkness visible even in daylight. Grandmaster Joe's expression hardened as he addressed the gathered clan leaders. The ancient signs manifest. Shadow Dragon approaches. The announcement triggered immediate defensive preparations. Warriors mobilized with practiced efficiency while non-combatants moved toward designated shelters. Kira assumed immediate command of the response. Her tournament mindset instantly replaced by leadership responsibility. All combat-capable practitioners to northern defensive positions, she ordered. Ancestral weapons from the sacred vault. Elders begin protective rituals. Amid the organized chaos, she turned to Goku with complicated expression, lingering competitive tension transformed by immediate practical necessity. Your abilities would benefit our defense, if you choose to offer them. Of course, he responded without hesitation. Though I'll need the power pole if we're facing what I suspect. Liz pushed through the dispersing crowd to join them, her ceremonial restraint abandoned in crisis. The darkness approaches faster than anticipated. Our delay has consequences beyond tournament philosophy. Recrimination helps nothing. Goku stated firmly. Preparation determines outcome, not theoretical timelines. Kira studied the priestess with lingering suspicion before practical necessity overrode historical antagonism. Your Solarian barriers would strengthen our northern perimeter if coordinated with our shadow containment techniques. Liz hesitated only momentarily before nodding agreement. Complementary approaches may prove more effective than either tradition alone. Within minutes, the three unlikely allies reached the northern ridge where Yukyu defenders established preliminary positions. The atmospheric disturbance had intensified, swirling darkness punctuated by unnatural lightning, advancing with deliberate malevolence rather than natural weather patterns. Shadow Dragon, Liz confirmed grimly. Corrupted divine beast once sworn to cosmic balance, now perverted by void energy. Our ancestors recorded their previous manifestation, Kira added, her cultural knowledge complementing Liz's theological understanding. 5 dragons corresponding to elemental forces: water, earth, fire, air, and void itself. Goku studied the approaching phenomenon with analytical focus. This appears to be water affiliation based on the condensation patterns within the darkness. Correct, Liz confirmed, impressed by his intuitive assessment. Each requires specific counter approaches. Water dragons absorb and redirect conventional energy attacks, gaining strength from opposition. Similar to Shadow Fist principles, Kira noted with grim irony. Perhaps our ancestral techniques developed through necessary adaptation rather than philosophical choice. The corrupted entity's form became increasingly defined as it approached, serpentine body composed of swirling darkness surrounding a liquid core. Multiple heads emerging and recombining in constant flux. Its scale dwarfed conventional threat parameters, stretching nearly half a kilometer from head to tail. Dire court opposition fails against such manifestations, Liz explained hurriedly. Traditional Solarian approach employs containment barriers followed by purification rituals. Yukyu tradition prescribes shadow binding techniques, Kira added. Corrupted energy trapped in circular patterns that eventually collapse the manifestation. Goku listened to both approaches while retrieving the power pole from his quarters. The staff hummed with responsive energy as the threat neared, golden light pulsing through its grain patterns. Both approaches seem fundamentally reactive, he observed. Containment rather than resolution. Corruption this advanced cannot be truly healed, Liz stated with certainty born from temple doctrine. Only contained until cosmic cycles eventually rebalance the corrupted essence. Eventually measured in centuries, Kira added grimly. Hence our ancestral bitterness. Previous containment required generational sacrifice. Goku studied the approaching entity with growing certainty that alternative approaches existed beyond either tradition. The corrupted water essence remains fundamentally divine despite its perverted state. If Amaterasu's power created these beings originally, then that same power might restore rather than merely contain, Liz completed, her doctrinal certainty wavering before practical possibility. The Shadow Dragon reached the defensive perimeter. Its massive form darkening the sky above White Tiger Village. Multiple heads struck simultaneously at different sections of the hastily established barrier, testing for weaknesses with malevolent intelligence. Theoretical discussion must yield to immediate defense, Kira declared, drawing twin blades from ceremonial sheaths. The weapons' edges gleamed with subtle energy, clear. Why artifacts of significant cultural importance? Containment first, philosophy after survival. Liz nodded agreement, golden energy already gathering around her hands in preparation for barrier reinforcement. The priestess concurs with the princess, for perhaps the first time in centuries. Goku extended the power pole to combat length, its surface now continuously glowing with golden energy responded to the proximity of corrupted divinity. Then let's establish effective containment while seeking restorative opportunity. The three unlikely allies moved into coordinated defensive pause. Isshins as the Shadow Dragon launched its first concentrated assault against the village perimeter. What began as tournament rivalry transformed into necessary cooperation against existential threat, Aya. Bringing unique capabilities to complement the others. Hira directed Yukyu warriors with tactical precision, their ancestral techniques creating shadow binding patterns that temporarily immobilized sections of the massive entity. Liz established golden barriers at critical junctures, her Solarian training manifesting protective fields that the corruption couldn't immediately penetrate. Goku Mployed the power pole with intuitive mastery, the weapon extending and contracting according to need while disrupting the creature's attack patterns through precision strikes at vulnerability points. The initial defense established tentative stalemate, the village protected but the entity undiminished. Corruption self-repaired almost as quickly as damage occurred, while the defenders' energy expenditure created unsustainable attrition scenario. During momentary coordination behind a reinforced barrier section, Hira addressed the fundamental problem. Containment alone fails against such manifestation. Previous recorded encounters required sacrifice of entire defensive forces to merely drive it into dormancy. Conventional approaches prove insufficient, Liz acknowledged, her ceremonial certainty replaced by practical assessment. Neither Solarian nor Yukyu traditions alone contain permanent solution. Goku studied the corruption patterns with growing understanding of their fundamental nature. The dragon doesn't merely employ water, it corrupts water's essential nature from life-giving to destructive. The void infection perverts original purpose rather than creating new entity. Theological distinction helps little against immediate threat, Hira noted, though without her earlier hostility. Unless corruption can be reversed rather than contained, Goku countered. The power pole responds differently than to the shadow beasts we encountered earlier. It recognizes kinship rather than opposition. Liz's expression shifted as implications registered. Divine implements resonate with original creation. The staff recognizes the uncorrupted essence beneath void infection. Theoretical potential requires practical application, Hira pressed, ever the pragmatist. Goku nodded agreement. I need direct contact with the central corruption node, the nexus point where void energy maintains control over the original essence. Hira immediately grasped tactical implications. Suicidal without coordinated approach. You require distraction elements and momentary vulnerability window. Precisely. Goku confirmed. Your shadow binding techniques could momentarily immobilize its defensive capabilities while Liz's barriers create approach corridor. The princess assessed the proposal with leader's responsibility. High-risk strategy with single opportunity. Failure means village destruction and defender annihilation. While success means permanent resolution rather than generational containment burden, Goku countered. Decision crystallized in Kira's express. Ion. The leader's burden of choosing potential salvation against guaranteed partial loss. We implement immediately. Yukyu warriors will create your opportunity, Sunborn. Make it worthwhile. The coordinated assault represented unprecedented cooperation between traditionally opposed forces. Yukyu shadow binders deployed in concentric circles, their techniques momentarily restricting the dragon's movement capabilities. Solarian barrier magic established golden approach corridor directly to the entity's central mass. Goku, power pole extended to full combat length, utilized the created opportunity with absolute commitment. The coordinated elements functioned precisely as designed. Shadow binding temporarily immobilized the massive corruption while golden barriers protected the approach vector. Goku moved with everything his extraordinary capabilities allowed, crossing the impossible distance between defensive position and corruption core in heartbeats rather than seconds. Contact established exactly as targeted. The power pole's golden energy connecting directly with the central corruption node where void infection maintained control over the original divine essence. The resulting energy cascade defied conventional description. Golden light exploding outward through the corruption pattern, not destroying but transforming, restoration rather than elimination. For eternal seconds that contained universe-shifting potential, outcome remained uncertain. Goku maintained unwavering focus despite energy backlash that would have overwhelmed ordinary consciousness. The power pole channeled impossible amounts of purifying essence, its structure somehow withstanding forces that should have atomized conventional matter. Resolution manifested with breathtaking suddenness. Corruptio N patterns collapsed not into destruction but transformation, darkness burning away to reveal the original water essence beneath, purified rather than eliminated. The massive dragon form remained, but transformed. Swirling blue-green energy patterns replacing earlier corruption, benevolent awareness replacing malevolent intent. The purified entity regarded its surroundings with ancient intelligence now freed from void infection. Its attention focused on Goku, recognition evident despite communication limitations. Without conventional interaction, understanding nonetheless transferred, gratitude, acknowledgement, and most significantly, renewed covenant. In gesture visible throughout the valley, the purified water dragon bowed its massive head toward Goku before dispersing into beneficial Rai. Fall that soaked the surrounding countryside, blessing rather than destruction, gift rather than threat. As defenders emerged from shelter positions, three figures stood in momentary tableau: priestess, princess, and awakening divinity. Connected through unprecedented cooperation that transcended traditional boundaries. Something fundamental had shifted in their relationships, forged through crises. Response rather than theological debate or tournament philosophy. Kira broke the silence, characteristic directness unchanged despite transformative experience. It seems Yukyu traditions require revision. Containment rather than restoration proved our historical limitation. Liz nodded agreement, her ceremonial certainty tempered by practical demonstration. As do Solarian doctrines. We preserved ancient knowledge without understanding its fundamental purpose. Goku leaned slightly on the power pole, the extraordinary energy expenditure having extracted significant physical cost despite his remarkable capabilities. Perhaps that's why reincarnation proved necessary. Divine perspective without mortal experience loses essential wisdom. The three contemplated implications as rainfall. Continued. Gentle blessing replacing apocalyptic threat. Around them, village defenders celebrated unexpected salvation while attempting to comprehend what they had witnessed. Grandmaster Joe approached, his weathered features revealing rare emotional response, wonder transcending philosophical detachment. Centuries of assumption challenged by single demonstration. He bowed deeply to Goku. Why? Tay Tiger Village acknowledges divine presence, whether welcomed or not. Not divinity yet, Goku corrected gently. Something between mortal and divine, learning through experience rather than claiming through doctrine. The distinction registered with Kira, her expression revealing complex recalibration of ancestral understanding. The tournament concludes with unexpected outcome. Neither victory nor defeat but transformation. She straightened with royal dignity. The Council of Elders will convene immediately to reconsider your passage request. The Shadow Dragon's purification rather Han destruction opens significant possibilities, Liz observed. Traditional responses require fundamental reconsideration. As celebratory atmosphere spread throughout the village, the three unlikely allies found themselves at philosophical crossroads, traditional certainties disrupted by shared experience that transcended individual understanding. Their journey had only begun, yet already transformative beyond any participant's expectation. Somewhere beyond immediate awareness, cosmic balance shifted infinitesimally toward restoration rather than conflict, light and shadow finding complement. Purpose rather than oppositional destruction. The awakening had truly begun, not merely of dormant divinity but of possibility beyond traditional limitation. Chapter 2 and Chapter 3, The Knowledge Seeker. Meridian rose from the plains like a dream manifested in stone and ambition. Unlike the organic harmony of Yukyu settlements or the humble practicality of mountain villages, the city said geometric precision upon the landscape. Concentric circles of increasingly elaborate architecture spiraled toward the central Grand Academy, a sprawling complex of domed buildings, towering observatories, and garden courtyards connected by elevated walkways. Goku paused atop the final hill of their journey, taking in the systematic beauty of humanity's greatest center of learning. It looks someone dropped a perfectly designed clockwork onto the plains. Meridian follows cosmological principles in its construction, Liz explained, her tone reflecting both admiration and mild criticism. The entire city serves as terrestrial reflection of celestial patterns. An impressive monument to human arrogance, Kira added, adjusting the warrior's harness that held her twin blades. Her unexpected decision to accompany them after the Shadow Dragon incident had shifted their dynamic in ways still evolving. They've recreated the heavens without understanding why the stars are positioned as they are. 3 days of travel from White Tiger Village had cemented their unusual alliance. The Council of Elders not only granted passage through Yukyu territory but insisted their princess accompany the awakening sun god as both observer and representative. The arrangement satisfied multiple objectives, honoring ancient prophecies while maintaining Yukyu influence in unfolding events. The Grand Academy houses the most comprehensive collection of pre-Shadow War knowledge in the known kingdoms, Liz noted as they began their descent toward the city gates. If answers about accelerating your awakening exist anywhere, we'll find them there. Assuming they grant access, Kira countered practically. Meridian guards its knowledge more jealously than Yukyu protects its sacred techniques. Goku had noticed this developing pattern, Liz's temple-born optimism balanced by Kira's warrior pragmatism. The contrasting perspectives proved complementary rather than contradictory, each filling gaps in the other's approach. As they approached the eastern gate, the city's scale became increasingly apparent. Walls rose nearly 40 feet, constructed from pale limestone that captured sunlight with golden warmth. Guards in deep blue uniforms stood at attention, their ceremonial spears topped with silver astronomical symbols that gleamed in the afternoon light. Unlike the immediate hostility they'd encountered at Yukyu's borders, Meridian's guards processed visitors with bureaucratic precision rather than suspicion. A clerk in silver-trimmed robes recorded their names, origins, and stated purpose while a senior guard assessed their weapons with professional detachment. The power pole requires special dispensation, the guard noted, eyeing the staff strapped across Goku's back. Extending weapons are restricted within academic districts. Before Goku could respond, Liz presented a golden medallion bearing the Solarian Temple's sunburst insignia. Guardian Priestess on sanctioned mission. The sacred implement remains with its appointed bearer. The guard examined the medallion with narrowed eyes before reluctantly nodding. Temple authority is acknowledged. However, demonstration of the weapon's capabilities is forbidden within city boundaries. Understood. Goku agreed, sensing this was neither the time nor place for unnecessary confrontation. With documentation completed, they passed through the massive gates into Meridian proper. The transition was immediate and disorienting, from open countryside to meticulously organized urban environment. Streets raw, dated from central hubs in perfect geometric patterns, each intersection marked by astronomical symbols inlaid in cobblestone. First-time visitors often experience spatial disorientation, Liz obs. RVED as Goku's eyes track the perfectly aligned buildings. The city's pattern appears confusing until you recognize the celestial logic underlying its design. Kira snorted softly. Are you could imply ask directions like practical people. The exchange drew a genuine smile from Goku. The princess advocates the direct approach. Surprising. Efficiency isn't exclusive to scholars, Kira replied. Though without her earlier hostility. The Shadow Dragon incident had transformed their relationship from antagonistic to something approaching reluctant respect. They proceeded through NGLY sophisticated districts, outer rings housing markets and artisans, middle sections devoted to specialized guilds and minor academies, inner circles reserved for political administration and elite residences. Throughout, a sense of ordered purpose pervaded the environment. Citizens moved with deliberate efficiency, conversations remained modulated, even children's play appeared structured rather than spontaneous. Disconcerting. Goku murmured. An entire city that values order above joy. Not absence but different expression, Liz corrected. Meridian finds beauty in precision where Hugh celebrates controlled power and mountain villages honor simplicity. Diplomatic observation, Kira noted with raised eyebrow. The priestess develops nuance. Their temporary accommodations had been arranged in the scholar's quarter, modest but comfortable rooms in an establishment accustomed to housing visiting researchers. After depositing their travel gear, they gathered to discuss strategy for approaching the Grand Academy. Temple credentials provide initial access, Liz explained, spreading a detailed map of the Academy complex across the table. However, the celestial archives we require are restricted even to most faculty. Additional permissions will be necessary. Bureaucratic labyrinths, Kira sighed. Give me an honest battlefield any day. This is a battlefield, Goku observed thoughtfully. Just with different weapons and tactics. Liz nodded approval at his insight. Precisely. Information access represents power within Meridian's social hierarchy. We must navigate carefully to avoid triggering institutional defensiveness. They decided that Liz would make initial inquiries alone, leveraging her Solarian credentials while Goku and Kira familiarized themselves with the city's layout. Establishing proper approach protocols would prevent unnecessary complications from their unusual group composition. The following morning brought their first glimpse of the Grand Academy's true magnificence. From within the Scholars' Quarter, the full architectural achievement became apparent. 5 massive domes representing the elemental sciences, connected by colonnaded walkways to the central archive, which itself stood beneath a crystalline observatory that captured and dispersed sunlight throughout the complex. Impressive, Kira acknowledged grudgingly as they approached the public entrance. Though excessively decorative for practical purpose, beauty and function need not be separate considerations, Liz countered. The geometric patterns channel specific energy flows while simultaneously expressing mathematical harmony. The entrance hall soared 5 stories upward, its ceiling painted with astronomical charts of such precision they were LTED by working scholars rather than merely admired as decoration. Sunlight filtered through carefully positioned crystals, creating illumination that required no lamps during daylight hours. A reception desk of polished marble served as initial gatekeeping, staffed by blue-robed administrators whose expressions suggested they considered themselves guardian priestesses of a different but equally sacred tradition. Liz approached with appropriate formality, presenting both her Solarian credentials and carefully prepared research request. The administrator examined both with methodical attention before stamping several forms and returning one to Liz. Provisional access granted to the historical archives, she announced without enthusiasm. Celestial archives require additional authorization from archival preceptor Rowan. His office receives petitioners between second and third bells. Most efficient, Liz replied with matching formality. We shall proceed as directed. The historic archives occupied the entirety of the Western Dome, a vast circular chamber ringed with 3 tiers of shelving, each accessible by spiral staircases and rolling ladders. Tables arranged like sunrays extended from the central reference desk, where scholarly acolytes in pale blue robes assisted researchers in locating specific materials. Begin with generally available information, Liz suggested as they secured a table. Drawing immediate attention to restricted interests would be counterproductive. Kira surveyed the massive collection with tactical assessment. Divide research objectives. I'll examine historical accounts of the Shadow War for inconsistencies between Ukyu and academic records. A practical approach, Liz agreed. I'll review documented prophecies regarding divine reincarnation patterns. Goku studied the methodical activity surrounding them. And I'll observe. This environment operates by rules I don't yet understand. The morning passed in productive research. Liz efficiently navigated the catalog system, requesting increasingly specific texts that build contextual understanding around their central questions. Kira approached historical research with same focused intensity she brought to combat, systematically comparing accounts and noting discrepancies in her precise handwriting. Goku, true to his word, observed, not merely the archives, operate ional systems but the scholars themselves. He noted the subtle hierarchies expressed through robe colors and decorative elements, the deference patterns between researchers of different specialties, he and spoken communication conducted through particular gestures and positioning. By midday, he understood the environment's social structure more comprehensively than many lifetime residents. As they compared initial findings over a simple meal in the Academy refectory, Liz summarized their progress. Documented prophecies align with temple teachings but provide fewer specifics than I anticipated. References to the vessel's awakening appear deliberately vague. Ukyu historical accounts contain significant departures from academic consensus, Kira added, consulting her meticulous notes. Particularly regarding the 5th incursion when our southern territories fell. Meridian scholars attribute the loss to tactical necessity, while our records explicitly document divine abandonment. 2 perspectives on the same events. Goku observed. Both containing partial truth. Truth shouldn't vary with perspective, Kira objected. Facts remain constant, Goku clarified. Their meaning shifts according to position and consequence. This philosophical exchange was interrupted by approaching footsteps. A senior administrator in silver-trimmed robes stood at their table, expression suggesting both importance and inconvenience. Guardian Priestess Liz, he intoned formally. Preceptor Rowan has reviewed your petition regarding Celestial Archive access. His gaze shifted briefly to Goku and Kira before returning to Liz. He requests immediate audience with your entire research party. The summons represented unexpected acceleration of their timeline. They followed the admini straighter through increasingly restricted sections of the Academy complex, eventually arriving at an ornate door bearing astronomical symbols wrought in precious metals. Present yourselves with appropriate respect, the administrator advised before departing. The preceptor values precision in all matters. The chamber beyond confirmed this assessment. Unlike the organic disorder of most scholarly offices, Preceptor Rowan's workspace displayed fanatical organization. Books aligned with mathematical exactitude, writing implements arranged by size and function, even the window coverings adjust. To provide optimal lighting without glare. The preceptor himself matched his environment. A tall, thin man of indeterminate middle age, his silver-streaked hair precisely trimmed, blue robes bearing the maximum permissible decorative elements for his station. He observed their entrance without rising from behind a massive desk constructed from a single slab of polished meteorite. Guardian Priestess, he acknowledged with minimal courtesy. Your petition for Celestial Archive access contains irregularities requiring clarification. I would be pleased to address any concerns, Liz replied with matching formality. Rowan's gaze shifted to Goku and Kira. Beginning with the unusual composition of your research party. Solarian priestesses traditionally work in isolation rather than collaboration, particularly with. His expression suggested distaste. Martial practitioners. Exceptional circumstances require exceptional approaches, Liz countered smoothly. Our research concern. Matters of mutual interest across traditional boundaries. Indeed. Rowan steepled his fingers with precise symmetry. Your stated research objective, awakening protocols for divine reincarnation, represents a highly specialized inquiry. Perhaps you might elaborate on the practical application of such theoretical material. The question contained hidden danger. Revealing Goku's potential identity prematurely could trigger institutional complications beyond simple archive access. Yet excessive evasion would only increase suspicion. Before Liz could formulate appropriately balanced response, Goku stepped forward. The application is neither theoretical nor abstract, preceptor. I've experienced manifestations consistent with divine awakening patterns. We seek historical precedent to understand these experiences properly. Rowan's carefully neutral expression faltered momentarily, genuine academic interest briefly overriding bureaucratic caution. You claim personal divine manifestation. Most irregular. Such assertions require empirical validation through established protocols. We seek those very protocols, Goku replied with disarming directness. My experiences include energy manifestations, intuitive knowledge acquisition, and artifact responsiveness beyond conventional explanation. The preceptor's assessment shifted visibly from dismissive to calculating. Fascinating proposition. The Celestial Archives indeed contain historical documentation of validation methodologies. He paused, reaching a decision. However, access requires appropriate supervision by qualified specialists. We welcome expert guidance, Liz responded, recognizing the bureaucratic opening being offered. Indeed. Rowan made a notation in a leather-bound ledger. I shall assign our most researcher on divine manifestation theory. Her expertise will provide necessary context for your inquiry. He activated a small silver bell on his desk, summoning an assistant. Locate specialist May and request her immediate presence. Quote. While awaiting the specialist's arrival, Rowan questioned Goku with increasing interest about his specific manifestations, comparing details against what appeared to be established classification systems. The preceptor's initially skeptical demeanor gradually transformed into cautious academic excitement. Their conversation was interrupted by a chaotic trance that shattered the chamber's ordered atmosphere. The door flew open with unnecessary force as a young woman practically tumbled into the room, arms overflowing with scrolls, notebooks, and appeared to be astronomical calculation devices. Preceptor. Apologies for delay. Transiting stellar convergence patterns required immediate documentation. Unexpected gamma variation suggesting divine resonance. Fascinating implications for established theories. Specialist May. Rowan interrupted with practiced patience. We have visitors requiring your expertise. The newcomer blinked R.A.P. idly as though suddenly realizing she wasn't alone. She appeared approximately Goku's age, though her actual features remained partially obscured behind spectacles that magnified her eyes to owlish proportions. Her blue researcher's robes bore numerous ink stains, burn marks, and what appeared to be experimental modifications for carrying additional research tools. Most distinctive was her hair. Cut in practical but lopsided fashion and dyed improbable shades of blue-green that violated Meridian's usual aesthetic conservatism. Visitors. Yes, of course, visitors. She adjusted her spectacles with ink-stained fingers. Consultative capacity or research assistance. Timeline parameters. Specialization requirements. Divine manifestation validation protocols. Rowan supplied, his tone sug. Esting this conversational redirection was routine. Specifically regarding reincarnation verification. The effect was immediate and dramatic. May dropped several scrolls in her excitement, rushing forward to examine Goku with absolutely no regard for personal space or social convention. Manifestation subject. Extraordinary. Physical indicators present. Energy signature accessible for analysis. Artifact responsiveness documented. Chronological progression of symptoms. Initial triggering incident. Goku blinked at the rapid-fire questioning but maintained composure. Yes to most questions. Though I'm not entirely sure what you mean by energy signature accessibility. May circled him with analytical intensity, producing various instruments from her modified robes, a crystal pendant on a silver chain. A small brass device with rotating components, and what appeared to be a specialized magnifying lens. Fascinating resonance patterns. Multispectral harmonics suggesting fifth-order integration. Cellular responsiveness to proto-divine stimuli. Her examination continued without regard for conventional social boundaries, occasionally poking Goku or holding instruments at unusual angles against his person. Kira cleared her throat pointedly. Perhaps introductions before physical examination. Oh, yes. Social protocols, of course. May straightened, attempting formal posture T. Had immediately collapsed into enthusiastic gesture. Mei Lin Zhao, third specialist in theoretical divinity and applied celestial mechanics, primary researcher on trans-dimensional energy manifestati. On patterns and author of 17 unpublished but revolutionary papers on divine reincarnation theory. Her self-introduction emerged as a single breathless declaration before she immediately returned Ned to examining Goku with various instruments. Extraordinary phi ratio correlation in auric emanation. Consistent with Solarian theoretical models but exceeding standard parameters by factor of 7. Liz and Kira exchanged glances that temporarily transcended their different backgrounds, shared bewilderment at the specialist's unusual approach. Preceptor Rowan sighed with resigned familiarity. Specialist May's academic brilliance occasionally overshadows conventional social interactions. However, her expertise in this specific domain remains unparalleled. I find her approach refreshing. Goku commented with genuine appreciation. Direct questions produce useful answers. May beamed at him, instantly abandoning a complex measurement to grasp his hand with unexpected enthusiasm. Pragmatic perspective. Excellent cognitive framework for accelerated manifestation integration. We'll work wonderfully together. Rowan cleared his throat. I shall authorize Celestial Archive access under Specialist May's supervision. Standard protocols apply. Materials remain within designated areas, artifact examination occurs only in shielded chambers, and all findings receive institutional review before external dissemination. Understood, Liz confirmed formally. We appreciate the Academy's accommodation. Intellectual pursuit transcends institutional boundaries, Rowan replied, thou. His expression suggested this philosophical position competed with bureaucratic caution. Specialist May will manage your access appropriately. With authorization secured, they followed May through a labyrinthine series of increasingly restricted corridors. Unlike the methodical administrators, she moved with erratic energy, occasionally stopping mid-stride to note an observation in one of her many notebooks or diverting to point out architectural features with esoteric significance. Harmonic resonance chambers. Geometric amplification of celestial energies. Essential for proper examination of divine artifacts. She gestured enthusiastically toward ceiling patterns that appeared decorative but apparently served functional purposes. Academy's founders understood connection between physical structure and metaphysical resonance. Despite her chaotic communication style, Goku found himself appreciating Mei's genuine intellectual passion. Her enthusiasm contained no political calculation or theological agenda, purely the joy of discovery and understanding. The celestial archives proved worth the bureaucratic hurdles. Unlike the public historical archives, this restricted collection occupied a perfect sphere at the Academy's heart, a windowless chamber where specially treated crystals provided illumination that wouldn't damage ancient materials. Shelving curved along the walls in mathematical progression, containing materials organized by cosmological rather than alphabetical principles. Divine manifestation documentation primarily located in Empyrean Quadrant. Mei announced, leading them to a specific section where the shelving material shifted from wood to what appeared to be polished meteorite similar to Rowan's desk. Primary sources from pre-Shadow War era. Witness accounts of previous divine interactions. For the next several hours, they immersed themselves in materials unavailable anywhere else in the known kingdoms. Mei proved invaluable despite her unusual communication style, her encyclopedic knowledge allowing her to locate specific references with uncanny precision while providing contextual information that connected seemingly disparate sources. Fascinating correlation between environmental resonance and manifestation acceleration, she exclaimed, comparing an ancient scroll with notations from her personal research. Sacred locations enhance awakening through geometric amplification of latent divine energy. The Solarian Temple was constructed on precisely such a resonance point, Liz confirmed. Our sacred geometry intentionally enhances divine connection. As does the central training ground in White Tiger Village, Kira added with surprising openness. Though we never attributed spiritual significance to the design. Who studied an illustrated manuscript depicting previous divine manifestations. These accounts describe physical transformation accompanying spiritual awakening, changes in appearance reflecting the divine essence emerging. Progressive integration rather than instantaneous transformation. Mei agreed enthusiastically. Cellular restructuring accommodating increased energy capacity. Your current manifestations suggest second stage progression, significant but incomplete integration. As they continued their research, patterns emerged across sources spanning centuries. Divine reincarnation full load consistent protocols. Initial unconscious manifestations during childhood, accelerating expression during early adulthood, followed by awakening catalysts that triggered full integration. The specific catalysts varied. Sometimes cosmic alignments, sometimes existential threats, sometimes ritual interventions. The celestial alignment approaches, Liz noted, consulting astronomical charts. E7 sacred stars enter perfect conjunction within 68 days. Excellent temporal framework, Mei exclaimed. Cosmic resonance provides natural amplification opportunity. Significantly improves probability of successful integration. Kira examined a tactical map from the previous Shadow War. Accelerated timeline also suggests increased void activity. Historical patterns show corrupt-on spreads most aggressively during alignment periods. Their collaborative research continued until evening bells signaled the archives, closing protocols. Mei seemed genuinely distressed at the interruption, insisting they continue first thing the following morning. Essential progress. Momentum must be maintained. Theoretical frameworks aligned with practical application opportunities. As they departed the Academy complex, Goku reflected on their productive if unusual day. Specialist Mei's enthusiasm proves contagious. Her perspective differs significantly from either temple doctrine or warrior tradition. Academic brilliance without practical grounding, Kira assessed, though without real criticism. Her theoretical knowledge complements our different perspectives. The Academy values knowledge for its own sake, Liz observed. Unlike temple tradition where knowledge serves specific devotional purpose. Their discussion continued over dinner at a scholar-favored establishment near their accommodations. The day's research had yielded valuable insights regarding Goku's awakening process, though significant questions remained about accelerating the integration safely. Our meal was interrupted by the arrival of an elegantly dressed courier bearing an ornate envelope sealed with blue wax impressed with astronomical symbols. An invitation from His Highness, Prince Callus of House Meridian. The courier announced with practiced formality. The prince requests your attendance at tomorrow evening's astronomical observation ceremony in the Royal Observatory. The unexpected royal attention created immediate complications. Declining risked political offense while accepting potentially exposed their mission to unnecessary scrutiny. Please convey our honored acceptance. Liz responded after brief silent consultation with her companions. We appreciate the prince's gracious recognition. After the courier's departure, Kira expressed their collective concern. Royal interest suggests information about our research has reached court circles. Problematic development. Not necessarily, Liz countered thoughtfully. Royal patronage could accelerate our access to restricted materials. The Prince's observatory contains celestial instruments unavailable even to senior academy researchers. At what cost? Goku questioned practically. Such invitations rarely come without expectations. Their speculation continued into the following morning when they rejoined May at the Celestial Archives. The specialist's reaction to news of the royal invitation proved unexpectedly negative. Prince Callus. Problematic patron. Political ambitions overriding scientific objectivity. Her usual enthusiasm dampened considerably. Extensive history of appropriating research for personal advancement. You've had previous interaction with the prince? Liz inquired. May adjusted her spectacles with nervous energy. Attempted to claim supervisory credit for trans-dimensional resonance research. Presented findings to Inter-Kingdom Scientific Conclave without attribution. Institutional politics prevented formal complaint. This concerning information contextualized the unexpected invitation. Royal interest likely represented opportunity for exploitation rather than genuine academic support. Their second day of research focused on specific awakening protocol. LS documented from previous divine manifestations. May located several accounts describing ritual interventions that successfully accelerated integration processes, though each carried significant risks to the vessel's physical form. Fascinating balance between acceleration and stability. She exclaimed, comparing contradictory source materials. Too rapid integration results in cellular disruption. Too gradual allows void corruption opportunities. Like training muscle, Goku observed. Appropriate stress creates growth while excessive stress causes damage. Excellent physiological analogy. May beamed approval. Precisely the correct conceptual framework. By mid-afternoon, they had compiled substantial information on theoretical approaches to accelerating Goku's awakening safely. The critical common element across successful historical precedents involved sacred locations with specific geometric properties that naturally amplified divine resonance. The Solarian temples in Sanctum would provide optimal environmental conditions, Liz noted. Its design specifically enhances solar energy manifestation. Theoretical alignment supports that conclusion, May agreed, though her enthusiasm suddenly dimmed. However, what concerns you? Goku prompted when she hesitated uncharacteristically. May glanced around before lowering her voice to an exaggerated whisper. Ancient warning protocols. Discovered in restricted cosmological prophecies. Concerning the Great Devourer. I'm unfamiliar with this reference, Liz admitted with scholarly openness. Temple prophecies contain no such designation. With uncharacteristic caution, May retrieved a sealed case from a secured cabinet, employing multiple keys and what appeared to be energy-based authentication. From within, she extracted a manuscript of such apparent age that it seemed to hover between material and ephemeral states. Pre-Shadow War prophecy. Discovered in dimensional fracture zone. Authentica. Tian verified through multiple methodologies. Her usual scattered communication focused with unexpected clarity. Describes cosmic balance disruption occurring simultaneously with divine reincarnation awakening. The manuscript contained text in a language none of them recognized, accompanied by illustrations of disturbing precision. Celestial bodies in specific alignment, a divine figure with solar imagery, and most alarmingly, a shadow entity of enormous proportions emerging from between dimensional boundaries. The prophecy states, May translated with unusual solemnity, when the sun walks again in mortal vessel. The void shall send its devourer, that which consumes divine essence itself. The implications landed heavily among them. Goku's awakening potentially triggered not just opportunity for cosmic renewal but existential threat beyond even the shadow dragons they'd encountered. The void cult's activities suddenly contextualize differently, Kira observed with tactical reassessment. Not merely opposing the sun god's return but potentially summoning something worse. Historical cycles suggest pattern recognition opportunities, May continued, flipping through additional prophetic materials. Previous divine manifestations countered specific void incursions. Current awakening likely responds to emerging threat rather than independent event. Their sobering disc. Overy shifted research priorities for the remainder of the day. Rather than focusing exclusively on awakening protocols, they expanded into historical accounts of void manifestations and countermeasures. The integrated picture suggested concerning acceleration of cosmic timetables, events that should unfold over years potentially compressed into months or even weeks. Evening approached, requiring their preparation for the Royal Observatory event. As they departed the archives, May surprised them with unexpected declaration. I shall accompany you. Essential contextual expertise regarding ASTR. Onomical instruments and prophetic alignments. Prince cannot easily dismiss academic representative. Her self-invitation stemmed clearly from protective instinct rather than social aspiration. Despite minimal acquaintance, May had developed immediate investment in their mission, particularly in Goku's awakening process, which represented unprecedented research opportunity alongside genuine concern for his well-being. They returned to their accommodations to prepare for the evening's political navigation. Appropriate attire had been delivered, formal robes in Meridian's academic style rather than their diverse cultural clothing. The standardization clearly represented attempt to minimize their distinctive backgrounds within court setting. Concerning political signal, Kira noted, examining the identical blue robes with warriors' suspicion. Erasure of cultural identifiers suggests presentation manipulation. Academic neutrality provides conversational advantages, Liz countered, th. Aoshi too seemed uncomfortable with the implied conformity. We can present unified scholarly inquiry rather than disparate cultural agendas. Goku examined his formal attire with practical assessment. The robes restrict movement significantly. Tactical disadvantage in potential confrontation. Always the warrior's perspective, Liz observed with what might have been fondness. Prudent assessment, Kira corrected. Already modifying her robes to allow weapon access despite the formal appearance. Court environments contain dangers beyond physical confrontation. They were collected by royal escort as evening approached. An elaborate carriage bearing astronomical symbols worked in precious metals, drawn by matched white horses with decorative blue harnesses. The conveyance itself represented display of wealth and status rather than merely practical transportation. May joined them at the appointed location, her appearance transformed by apparent institutional intervention. Her UAL chaotic researcher's attire had been replaced by formal academic robes bearing significantly more status indicators than they had previously observed. Most surprisingly, her habitually disheveled appearance had been meticulously ordered, hair properly arranged, spectacles replaced with more aesthetically appropriate version, even her characteristic energy somewhat subdued. Institutional presentation requirements. She explained with uncharacteristic restraint when they remarked on the transformation. Preceptor Rowan insisted on appropriate academic representation. Most uncomfortable. He Royal Observatory occupied the highest point in Meridian, a perfect dome of white stone and crystal panels atop the city's central spire. Their carriage ascended via switchback roadway that offered increasingly panoramic views of the geometrically perfect city below, illuminated by methodically placed lanterns that mirrored constellations when viewed from above. Impressive commitment to celestial reflection. Goku observed as the full pattern became visible. The entire city functions as astronomical instrument. Meridian's founding principle, May confirmed, momentarily overcoming her discomfort to resume scholarly explanation. Terrestrial observatory designed to track celestial patterns through urban geometry. The observatory entrance featured guards in ceremonial rather than functional armor. Their weapons more decorative than practical. They were escorted through a series of increasingly exclusive antechambers where courtiers in elaborate attire engaged in the complex navigation that characterized political environments regardless of culture. The observatory's main chamber presented stark contrast to the anterior social spaces. Scientific functionality dominated the perfectly circular room, with astronomical instruments of remarkable precision arranged around a central platform. The domed ceiling consisted of interlocking crystal panels that could apparent reconfigure to focus on specific celestial bodies or patterns. Approximately 40 guests circulated through the space, primarily academic figures bearing institutional insignia alongside political representatives whose attire suggested various kingdom affiliations. The gathering's exclusive nature became immediately apparent through subtle status signifiers and the deliberately limited attendance. Strategic gathering rather than social occasion, Kira assessed quietly. Specific guests with specific purpose. Before they could further analyze the political landscape, attention focused on a new arrival. Conversations hushed as a man entered accompanied by ceremonial attendants. Unlike the ostentatious display common to many royal figures, Prince Callus presented sophisticated understatement. His attire demonstrating precision and quality through perfect tailoring and subtle material excellence rather than excessive ornamentation. Physically, the prince defied easy categorization. Neither conventionally handsome nor particularly distinctive, his features nonetheless commanded attention through perfect composition and extraordinary self-possession. Dark hair cut with Mathematica. Precision framed an expression of perpetual analytical assessment. His age proved difficult to determine. Somewhere between 30 and 40, preserved through either excellent genetics or subtle enhancement techniques. The prince acknowledged various attendees with calculated warmth before approaching their group with evident purpose. His gaze assessed each member with momentary but comprehensive evaluation before settling on Goku with particular interest. Our distinguished visitors from diverse kingdoms, he greeted with precise modulation. Your presence honors Meridian's commitment to knowledge transcending cultural boundaries. We appreciate your highness's gracious inclusion, Liz responded with appropriate formality. The Academy's scholarly resources prove invaluable to our research. Prince Callus smiled with perfect diplomatic calibration. Research of particularly fascinating nature, according to Preceptor Rowan's reports. Divine manifestation validation represents intersection of historical documentation and contemporary application, a specialty of particular interest to Meridian's royal observational programs. The casual reference to their specific research confirmed earlier concerns about information pathways between the Academy and royal authority. The prince's awareness of their activities suggested monitoring beyond normal administrative oversight. Theoretical frameworks supported by empirical observation represent sound scientific methodology, May interjected with surprising assertiveness despite her earlier discomfort. Academy protocols ensure appropriate validation before conclusion formulation. Indeed, Specialist May, the prince acknowledged smoothly. Your reputation for methodological rigor precedes you. Which makes your involvement with this particular research group especially intriguing. The subtle emphasis conveyed volumes, awareness of May's previous conflicts with royal attribution practices alongside implied questioning of her current research association. The political maneuvering contained multiple layers despite the conversational pleasantries. Specialist May's expertise proves essential to our inquiry, Goku stated with deliberate directness. Drawing the prince's calculating assessment back to himself. Her perspective balances traditional interpretations with scientific objectivity. Something flickered in Callus's expression. Reassessment based on Goku's unexpected diplomatic capability. Fascinating dynamic. Traditional Solarian doctrine, Yukyu martial philosophy, and Meridian academic methodology, converging on single research subject. His gaze intensified. One might almost suspect coordination beyond mere scholarly interest. The observation dangerously approached their actual purpose while maintaining plausible scholarly curiosity. Before anyone could formulate appropriate response, ceremonial chimes announced the evening's official commencement. We shall continue this stimulating conversation momentarily. The prince promised before moving to the chamber's center. After the celestial observation that gathers us this evening. As Callus began formal address to the assembled guests, Kira whispered assessment to her companions. Calculated provocation testing response patterns. Significant political interest beyond academic curiosity. His knowledge of our specific research suggests intentional monitoring. Liz agreed quietly. Institutional confidentiality apparently penetrated. The prince's ceremonial introduction explained the evening's astronomical significance, a rare alignment of specific stars traditionally associated with cosmic knowledge transfer. The observatory's specialized instruments would allow observation impossible elsewhere in the known kingdoms, potentially revealing patterns of significance to various research disciplines. As the formal observation commenced, the domed ceiling reconfigured to focus on specific celestial coordinates. The Cha Ember's illumination dimmed as specialized instruments activated, projecting magnified stellar images onto designed reception surfaces. The technical achievement impressed even Kira's practical asses SM. Ent. Meridian's astronomical capabilities clearly exceeded any other kingdom's by significant margin. The alignment itself manifested as 7 specific stars moving into perfect geometric formation, a configuration that occurred only once every 77 years according to the prince's scholarly explanation. The projected image revealed details invisible to conventional observation: corona patterns, energy emissions, and subtle colorations normally obscured by distance. Goku observed with more than ordinary interest. Something about the specific stellar pattern resonated with his developing awareness, a recognition beyond intellectual understanding. As the alignment reached its mathematical apex, he experienced momentary disconnection from immediate surroundings, his perception expanding to include perspectives impossible from his physical location. The sensation passed quickly, but left lingering awareness that his awakening had progressed incrementally through mere observation of the significant celestial event. Liz noticed his momentary disorientation, moving closer with concerned assessment. Energy fluctuation, she inquired quietly. Momentary expansion, he confirmed. Quote, the alignment holds meaning beyond astronomical significance. As the formal observation concluded and normal illumination returned, Prince Callus approached their group with renewed purpose. His expression suggested the evening's scientific demonstration served primarily as pretext for more specific agenda. Fascinating alignment, is it not? He observed, attention focused on Goku's reaction. Quote, traditional interpretations suggest knowledge transmission between celestial and terrestrial realms during such configurations. The pattern holds significance across multiple cultural frameworks, Liz acknowledged cautiously. Solarian texts reference similar alignments during historical divine manifestations. Precisely my interest, Callus confirmed with calculated openness. Historical pattern recognition suggests current astronomical phenomena may indicate significant metaphysical events approaching. Perhaps even divine reincarnation as your research investigates. The direct referent CE confirmed their earlier concerns. The prince's interest extended beyond academic curiosity into specific awareness of their actual purpose. The political implications created immediate strategic complications. Theoretical frameworks require substantial empirical validation, May interjected, her academic defensiveness overcoming social discomfort. Premature conclusion formation violates basic methodological principles. Yet pattern recognition across multiple reliable sources suggests valid investigative pathways, the prince countered smoothly. Particularly when historical precedent aligns with contemporary observation. His gaze returned to Goku with undisguised assessment. For instance, certain physical markers historically associated with divine vessels appear in otherwise inexplicable manifestations. Energy signatures detectable through specialized instruments. Artifact responsiveness beyond conventional explanation. The specificity revealed concerning level of information about Goku's particular characteristics. Either Academy security had been thoroughly compromised or additional surveillance had been implemented without their awareness. Goku met the calculated assessment with direct engagement. Your Highness seems particularly well informed about theoretical divine manifestation indicators. Meridian's royal lineage maintains specialized knowledge across multiple disciplines. Callus replied with perfect political balance between revelation and concealment, including historical documentation of previous divine interventions in human affairs. He steered toward a more private alcove away from the general gathering. Perhaps we might discuss mutual interests more specifically. Royal archives contain materials unavailable even within Academy collections. The invitation presented both opportunity and risk. Potential access to valuable information alongside increased political entanglement. After brief silent consultation with his companions, Goku accepted with appropriate formality. The alcove provided conversational privacy while remaining visible to the larger gathering, a calculated choice that prevented both secretive plotting and potential misconceptions about their interaction. Callus directed them to comfortable seating arranged for both functionality and subtle status differentiation. Formalities satisfied, let us speak more directly. The prince suggested once they were settled. Your research into divine manifestation validation coincides with unprecedented celestial configurations and reported metaphysical anomalies throughout the connected kingdoms. His expression combined political calculation with genuine intellectual engagement. These patterns suggest something significant approaches, something beyond ordina. Rai understanding yet potentially crucial to kingdom security and stability. A reasonable assessment, Liz acknowledged carefully. Though specific interpretations vary across cultural traditions. Indeed, Callus focused on Goku with renewed intensity. Some traditions might interpret certain indicators as heralding divine reincarnation. The sun god's essence reborn in mortal vessel, awakening to counter cosmic threat. The statement's precision eliminated any remaining doubt about the prince's specific knowledge. Their research purpose had been completely compromised, requiring strategic recalibration. Goku decided that modified honesty offered better protection than continued evasion. Your assessment contains elements of accuracy. I've experienced manifestations consistent with divine awakening patterns. Though the process remains incomplete and my understanding limited. Rather than surprise, Callus exhibited satisfaction at the confirmation. Refreshing directness. Meridian values clarity in significant matters. He leaned forward with increased engagement. Such potential represents opportunity beyond individual consideration, cosmic realignment potentially benefiting all connected kingdoms. Assuming proper awakening occurs before void corruption spreads, Kira noted with Warrior's practicality. Historical precedent suggests narrow temporal window between opportunity and catastrophe. Precisely why cooperation proves essential, Callus agreed with apparent sincerity. Meridian's resources could significantly enhance awakening protocols while providing necessary protection during vulnerable transition phases. The offer contained genuine value alongside obvious political calculation. Royal resources indeed exceeded even combined capabilities of their diverse group, potentially accelerating Goku's awakening process while providing institutional protection against void cult interference. Generous proposition, Liz observed with diplomatic caution. Though traditional protocols place primary responsibility with Solarian authorities given historical precedent. Traditional approaches often benefit from contemporary enhancement, Callus countered smoothly. Meridian offers scientific precision alongside historical reverence, complementary rather than contradictory. The political navigation continued with proposals and counter-proposals regarding potential collaboration. Throughout, Goku observed the prince's underlying motivations with increasing clarity. Beyond stated scholarly interest and kingdom security lay personal ambition, posit. Ioning himself as essential facilitator of cosmic significance, ensuring his name entered historical record alongside divine reincarnation. Your Highness presents compelling possibilities, Goku Finn. Ally acknowledged as the diplomatic exchange reached natural conclusion. We appreciate Meridian's generous offer of collaboration and will consider optimal integration with existing protocols. Call. As recognize the polite deferral without appearing offended. Consider carefully. Cosmic timetables rarely accommodate political hesitation. He rose with perfect social grace. Meridian's resources remain available should you recognize their value. I shall authorize continued Academy access while you evaluate more comprehensive collaboration. As the prince returned to his broader hosting responsibilities, the companions exchanged assessments of the complex political development. Calculated self-interest alongside genuine resource access, Kira summarized concisely. Typical royal approach across all kingdoms. His knowledge of specific manifestation indicators suggests information sources beyond Academy reports, Liz observed with concern. Potentially independent surveillance capabilities. Definite monitoring through specialized instrumentation. May confirmed with unusual solemnity. Observatory contains detection equipment capable of identifying metaphysical energy signatures. Likely how your presence was initially flagged for royal attention. This technical clarification provided crucial context for their situation. Meridian's scientific capabilities extended beyond mere astronomy into metaphysical detection, explaining how Goku's developing divine essence had triggered institutional attention despite their attempted discretion. The remainder of the evening proceeded with careful navigation of social and political currents. Various academic figures approached with thinly disguised curiosity about their research, while political representatives assessed NTIAL alliances or complications from emerging divine influence. Throughout, they maintained diplomatic consistency, acknowledging scholarly interest without confirming specific divine identification. As the gathering concluded and they departed via royal transport, their discussion turned to practical implications for their continued mission. The prince's offer contains genuine advantages alongside obvious political entanglement. Liz acknowledged as their carriage descended toward the scholar's quarter. Royal resources could significantly accelerate your awakening process. While ensuring meridian influence over subsequent decisions, Kira countered. Historical patterns suggest political proximity to divine authority consistently serves ruling interests rather than cosmic balance. Acceleration carries inherent risks regardless of facilitation source. May interjected with renewed academic intensity. Historical precedent indicates vessel stability depends on gradual integration rather than forced manifestation. Goku considered these perspectives while integrating his own developing awareness. The celestial alignment had triggered subtle but significant advancement in his connection to the dormant divine essence, providing glimpses of broader purpose beyond individual awakening. We continue as planned, he decided after careful consideration. Utilizing Academy Res. Orses while maintaining independence from political entanglement. The prince's offer remains available if circumstances require reconsideration. The following days established productive research a turn despite awareness of royal monitoring. May's enthusiastic assistance proved invaluable as they compiled comprehensive understanding of awakening protocols from historical precedents. Her unique perspective balanced Liz's traditional interpretations and Kira's practical assessments, creating integrated approach that acknowledged diverse considerations. Most significantly, they discovered detailed accounts of previous divine manifestations coinciding with cosmic threats, establishing clear pattern between awakening timetables and void incursion cycles. The current celestial alignment suggested accelerated schedule compared to historical precedent, potentially indicating greater threat magnitude. Correlation between alignment intensity and threat severity. May exclaimed, comparing astronomical charts with manifestation accounts. Current configuration exceeds historical precedent by factorial magnitude. Suggests proportional increase in void activity. The void cult's activities support this assessment. Liz confirmed, integrating intelligence from Solarian observer networks. Reported rituals and corruption sites show exponential increase across all connected kingdoms. Strategic distribution rather than random occurrence, Kira noted, marking pattern recognition across territorial maps. Concentrated along ley line intersections and historical power nexus points. Their collaborative analysis revealed disturbing conclusion. The Void Cult appeared to be implementing systematic preparation for major incursion rather than merely opposing divine reincarnation. The shadow dragon they encountered represented only initial manifestation of potentially larger corruption strategy. As their research approached logical conclusion, they faced critical decision point regarding next actions. The comprehensive information gathered clearly indicated necessity for Goku to reach the Solarian temple where specialized architectural features would facilitate proper awakening protocols. However, reaching the temple required traversing increasingly dangerous territory as void cult activity intensified. Direct route through Umbra provides shortest path, Kira assessed, studying detailed regional maps. Though intelligence suggests heaviest cult concentration in precisely those territories. Temporal considerations support expedited approach despite increased risk, Liz acknowledged reluctantly. The celestial alignment reaches critical configuration within 42 days. Traditional awakening protocols require minimum 15 days of preparatory rituals. Co-impression algorithms might optimize ritual efficiency. May suggested with characteristic enthusiasm. Geometric amplification through precise positioning could reduce temporal requirements by approximately 27%. Their strategic planning session was interrupted by unexpected visitor, a royal messenger bearing formal documentation rather than verbal communication. The sealed document contained official notice that Prince Callus would attend their research conclusion the following day, to assess kingdom implications and resource allocation regarding metaphysical security concerns. The diplomatic language thinly disguised escalating royal involvement despite their careful independence maintenance. The prince clearly intended to insert himself directly into their mission planning regardless of their preferences. Political complication intensifies, Kira observed with tactical reassessment. Royal involvement potentially compromises operational security, while providing potential resource advantages. Liz countered, though without strong conviction. The prince's influence could facilitate safer passage through difficult territories, with corresponding obligation creation. May cautioned, her academic perspective temporarily overshadowed by practical concern. Historical precedent indicates royal assistance invariably establishes control mechanisms. Unexpected royal insertion into their timetable necessitated accelerated planning. If the prince intended to establish formal involvement in their mission, they needed clear parameters established before his arrival. Throughout the evening, they developed comprehensive strategic approach that acknowledged potential royal resources while maintaining essential independence for critical decisions. The following morning brought final research consolidation before the prince's scheduled appearance. May arrived earlier than usual, her characteristic energy underscored by obvious concern. Essential information discovered. Restricted cosmological prophecy accidentally accessible during filing system recalibration. She produced several pages of hastily transcribed notes. Critical warning Reg. Arding. The Forgotten One. Associated with current celestial alignment. The unexpected information described ancient entity predating current cosmic order, sealed away during primordial conflicts but potentially accessible during rare alignment configurations. The prophecy specifically warned that attempts to prevent divine reincarnation could inadvertently release this ancient power as cosmic balance destabilized. The Void Cult may be pursuing something far worse than merely preventing your awakening, Liz realized with growing alarm. Their rituals could be attempting to access this primo RDIAL entity as alternative power source. Strategic escalation beyond anticipated parameters, Kira assessed grimly. Enemy objective potentially transcends simple opposition to divine manifestation. This concerning development lent additional urgency to their mission timetable. If the prophecy proved accurate, the approaching celestial alignment created vulnerability between dimensional bone dairies that malevolent forces could potentially exploit. Their strategic recalibration continued until Prince Callus arrived with minimal entourage, only 2 scholarly advisors and his personal security. Tie detail rather than formal royal procession. The reduced ceremony suggested priority on substantive discussion rather than political display. Your research appears to have reached significant conclusions, he observed after formal greetings. Preceptor Rowan reports unprecedented access patterns to restricted cosmological materials. Essential contextual integration, May explained with unusual directness. Historical precedent correlation with contemporary manifestation indicators required comprehensive textual analysis. The prince smiled with what appeared to be genuine appreciation for her academic enthusiasm. Indeed, Specialist May, your methodological thoroughness remains unquestioned. His attention shifted to Goku. I presume these conclusions support continuation of your J. Orni toward the Solarian Temple for formal awakening protocols. The accurate assessment of their intentions confirmed their earlier concerns about information security. Either Academy reporting STEMs provided excessive detail or additional surveillance had been implemented without their knowledge. The temple's specialized architectural features provide optimal environmental conditions for the necessary rituals. Liz confirmed carefully. Historical precedent supports this approach for maximum integration stability. A traditional perspective with merit, Callus acknowledged. Though, perhaps benefiting from contemporary enhancement. He gestured to one of his scholarly companions, who presented detailed documentation. Meridian's Royal Observatory has developed specialized instrumentation for metaphysical energy stabilization during transformative processes. The technical specifications outline truly impressive technological achievement, devices capable of monitoring and potentially modulating divine energy integration to prevent cellular disruption during accelerated awakening. The equipment represented significant advantage unavailable through traditional approaches alone. Fascinating application of harmonic resonance principles. May exclaimed, her academic excitement temporarily overriding political caution. Theoretical models suggested possibility but practical implementation exceeds current published parameters. Royal research occasionally advances beyond academic publication timetables, Callus noted with calculated modesty. Kingdom security concerns occasionally necessitate discretion regarding certain technological developments. The subtext was clear. Meridian possessed metaphysical capabilities beyond public knowledge, developed specifically for monitoring and potentially influencing divine manifestations. The revelation added concerning dimension to the prince's interest in Goku's awakening process. Generous technological offering, Goku acknowledged diplomatically. Though implementation logistics present practical challenges given our immediate departure plans. Precisely why royal accompaniment proves advantageous, Callus countered smoothly. A small specialized team could manage the equipment while providing additional security through difficult territories. Meridian maintains diplomatic relations even with Umbra's less stable regions. The offer presented genuine practical advantage alongside obvious political entanglement. Royal escorts would indeed provide both technical support and potential diplomatic protectee during their increasingly dangerous journey. However, the accompanying obligation and monitoring would compromise their operational independence. We appreciate Meridian's generous offer, Liz responded with careful diplomatic balance. Such collaboration requires thoughtful integration with existing protocols to ensure optimal outcomes. Of course, Callus agreed with political precision. Quote, I wouldn't suggest disrupting established methodologies, merely enhancing them through complementary approaches. The diplomatic exchange continued with proposal and counter-proposal regarding specific collaboration parameters. Throughout, Goku observed the prince's underlying motivations with increasingly clear perception, his awakening divine awareness providing insight beyond ordinary human calculation. Beneath Callus's stated kingdom security concerns and scholarly interest lay complex personal ambition. The prince genuinely believed in the approaching cosmic threat and Goku's potential role in addressing it. However, he also saw opportunity to position himself as essential facilitator, the visionary leader who recognized divine manifestation and provided crucial support during world-altering events. As the negotiation reached natural conclusion, Goku offered carefully balanced response to the prince's proposals. Meridian's technological expertise clearly offers valuable complementary approach to traditional protocols. We welcome collaborative development of specific implementation strategies that respect established methodologies while incorporating contemporary enhancements. The diplomatic formula acknowledged potential value while establishing clear boundaries regarding decision authority. Callus recognized the subtle limitation with political grace, accepting partia victory rather than risking complete rejection through excessive demands. Excellent foundation for productive collaboration, he agreed with perfect political calibration. My technical team will prepare necessary equipment for immediate deployment. Given reported void cult activity along your projected route, I suggest departure within 3 days to maintain optimal alignment with celestial timetables. With preliminary agreement established, the prince departed to initiate practical arrangements. Once alone, the companions assessed their complicated political situation with characteristic diversity of perspective. Royal involvement creates significant tactical advantages alongside concerning control implications, Kira summarized concisely. Meridian's diplomatic protection thrug Umbra territories provides genuine security enhancement. While their monitoring technology potentially compromises operational independence, Liz countered with reasonable concern. The temple's traditional protocols may conflict with Meridian's scientific approaches. Complementary methodologies rather than contradictory. May insisted with academic enthusiasm. Integration of traditional wisdom with contemporary precision potentially optimizes awakening efficiency. Goku considered these perspectives while integrating his own developing awareness. The celestial observation had read subtle but significant advancement in his connection to the dormant divine essence, providing glimpses of broader purpose beyond individual awakening. We proceed with cautious collaboration, he decided after thoughtful consideration. Accepting technological and diplomatic advantages while maintaining essential independence regarding critical decisions. Their strategic planning continued through the day. Preparing for journey resumption with new political complications. May surprised them with unexpected declaration during their final research session. I shall accompany your expedition. Essential technical expertise regarding metaphysical instrumentation and astronomical alignment interpretation. Practical field application of theoretical frameworks. Her self-invitation stemmed from genuine academic passion alongside growing personal investment in their mission. Despite minimal acquaintance, May had developed immediate connection to their purpose, particularly to Goku's awakening process, which represented unprecedented research opportunity alongside emerging emotional attachment she likely hadn't fully recognized. Academic perspective provides valuable balance to traditional and martial approaches. Goku acknowledged with genuine appreciation. Though the journey presents significant dangers beyond scholarly expedition parameters. Acceptable risk threshold given research significance. May insisted with uncharacteristic determination. Opportunity to document divine manifestation from preliminary stages through complete integration represents unprecedented scholarly contribution. Her commitment proved unwavering despite their reasonable cautions regarding journey dangers. By day's end, preparations included May's participation, her academic credentials, providing institutional authorization, while her genuine enthusiasm ensured valuable intellectual contribution. As evening approached, Goku sought momentary solitude on their lodging's rooftop terrace. The geometric precision of meridian spread below while stars emerged in mathematical progression overhead, human order reflecting cosmic patterns in mutual recognition. His meditative solitude was briefly interrupted by Liz, who approached with uncharacteristic hesitation. Your integration progresses even without formal protocols, she observed. The celestial alignment triggered perceptible advancement in your divine awareness. Less conscious control than instinctive emergence, Goku confirmed. Like remembering something long forgotten rather than learning something new. Liz settled beside him. Her formal priestess demeanor softened by growing personal connection. Temple teachings describe precisely that sensation, reintegration rather than acquisition. The vessel remembers its true nature through graduated awakening. Quote, while maintaining human perspective, Goku added thoughtfully. Perhaps that's the essential purpose of reincarnation rather than direct manifestation, experiencing cosmic questions through mortal limitations. The philosophical exchange revealed their evolving relationship, initial ceremonial distance gradually replaced by genuine connection through shared purpose and complementary understanding. Similar transformation had occurred with Kira, whose warrior antagonism had evolved into respectful alliance through crisis response and mutual challenge. Now May joined their unlikely company, academic brilliance and social awkwardness bringing fresh perspective to their evolving group dynamic. Four individuals from radically different backgrounds, ed through cosmic circumstance yet developing genuine connections beyond mere practical alliance. As stars fully emerged above Meridian's geometric perfection, Goku contemplated the approaching journey with clear-eyed assessment. Political complications, increasing danger, and accelerating cosmic timetables created daunting challenges ahead. Yet their diverse capabilities offered unique advantages no traditional approach could provide. The knowledge we've gained clarifies the path without eliminating its challenges, he observed as Liz prepared to leave him to his meditation. Academic our standing provides foundation for practical application. As it should, she agreed with growing warmth. Knowledge without action remains merely theoretical, while action without knowledge risks dangerous error. Balance in all things. Goku concluded with emerging wisdom that bridged human and divine perspectives, including between what we know and what we must discover through experience. The simple exchange contained deeper significance they both recognized without needing explicit acknowledgement. Their journey had transformed from priestess escorting divine vessel toward prescribed destination into shared exploration of cosmic possibility through complementary understanding. As Meridian's perfect geometric order surrounded them in human-created harmony while stars maintained cosmic patterns overhead. The balance between mortal understanding and divine awakening found momentary equilibrium, fragile yet essential foundation for the challenges that approached with inexorable cosmic timing. Chapter 3 End. The End. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.